say that, for example, this is Web 2021. So I just want to open this folder. I'm just creating one folder where we are going to write entire program. Yeah. So here I'm going to create a new file. Say that data types dot. So can you please tell me what are the data types? You know it? Anybody? So do you know any data types? Okay. So let me go and write the data types. Okay. So generally data types is categorized. Generally you have to understand there is a different categories of the data types is there. And when you are going to talk about the data types, for example, you can see x is equal to 3. This is a variable. Can I write x is equal to 9? For example, this is way. Can I write the variable name is called 9x is equal to 8? Is it possible, guys? Not possible. The variable names should not be starts with the numbers. Can I write with a hyphen here, dash? Say this is possible, right? This is possible. Okay, let's focus on first data types. What are the data types? Okay, so data types is categorized into the different ways. One is numbers, and the second one is we can say that sequence values and sequence, and another one is called the like sequence type 2. This is a little case. Okay, we can consider sequence type 2, and the next one is the map, and another one is the boolean. So you can see this there is a boolean. Okay, and also there is something called bytes, which we can mention it here. Okay, and what else is there? The bytes. Anybody tell me? There is a none type. This is also data type. These are all the data types I'm talking about. Basically we are dealing with the different data types in the Python, right? So when it comes to the numbers, we have like integer and float and complex, right? So these are the data types we have it with respect to the numbers. Int is there, float is there, complex is there. But in the olden Python versions, we see something is called double and long, but in the latest versions of that Python, we don't use more than these three. So basically this entire programming, we use the int, float and complex only. And comes to the sequence objects, what are the sequence we use? Like list, okay, and tuple and set. What else is there? Anybody else? But this set, I will move to the sequence type 2 because as I can see, this is a different significance basically. Okay, I will talk about this. Okay, so I will talk about this. So tuple, and what else is there, guys? Anybody knows list, tuple? Can I use the range here? Range is also function, which is also sequence data type, which we can say in Python. Sequence type 2 is a set and the frozenset. So this is the order. Let's say like in this frozenset. The map is something like what? Which is a dictionary. So we actually take the dictionary. The boolean is always like these are the reserved keywords, true and false. So true and false is there, right? And what else is there? In the bytes, we have the bytes function, and there is also bytes array, right? So we have the bytes and bytes array. We can use it here, right? So when you are going to create this byte array, so we'll talk about this bytes and byte array in shortly, we'll understand. And in Python, there is a keyword called the none, right? These are the things if you know very well, and it should be fine. You can deal with the Python basics and everything, like writing the functions and for loop. There is exceptions and decorators, generators, and object-oriented program, because these are the concepts only we actually use into the Python programming, right? So we have now float, complex, list, tuple, range, set, set, dictionary, true, false, and all, right? So this is how we actually dealing with this. Let me go and create programming on this, but I will start with the first bytes. Okay. So what is the bytes in? So instead of writing this bytes, I will say always here underscore demo. Okay. That's where like we should not override the existing file of the Python, right? So can anybody tell me what is the bytes? One byte is equal to how many bits, guys? One byte is equal to 8 bits, right? So each bit is represented by using the 1 or 0. Okay, if I'm not wrong. And if you look at this, and in this case, the byte is equal to 8 bits and all is there, right? So I want to create a byte in Python. There is two ways we can create a byte. Okay, one is the byte, and this is the function. We have it in the uh, Python. But most of the times you may think like, okay, using the singular one, the byte, there is no byte function, but we have the bytes. When it comes to the bytes array, there is no bytes array. We have something called byte array. So you should not be confused with this. When you want to create a bytes in Python, we have to use the bytes. Now I'm going to create this one. For example, let me take the variable name is called the x is equal to 4. I want to convert this integer into the byte format. So I'm going to pass this x to this bytes. Bytes is the existing function, which is a predefined function in Python we can use. So if I want to see the output, what I can do, I can go and give this print statement, and this will be printed the output, right? You can see this, the output will be shown in the console, the terminal. See, this is how the byte is. Now you may wonder what is this, right? So I will go and show you now different ways, different examples we can see. I've given the 4, and this is actually enclosed into the B. After that, there is a single quotes. This is how it is there. But if I'm giving the 1, okay, x is equal to 1. If I go and execute this, this is the byte is represented /x00. This is how the byte representation comes. If I'm using now, for example, 12, I'm going to execute this code. You can see the 12 times of this, right? Okay, this is an integer we are converting into the bytes. What if I'm going to convert the float, right? The float is nothing but the decimal value, which I'm going to execute this, cannot convert the float object to the bytes. So this is what you should remember. The second point is we cannot convert, okay? So it is not possible to convert float into the bytes. Only integer can be done, right? So I want to take this one is the complex numbers. How to take the complex numbers in Python? We use the 12 plus and 6j, right? Can I give that this way? J is a representation of the imaginary number in Python. Generally, in the mathematics, we use the I, but in Python, we use the J, right? So that's how the little difference, but I will talk about the complex numbers in shortly. But now our focus point is on the bytes, how to create a bytes in Python. So using the integer, we can create it, but the float, it is not possible. Now I'm trying with the complex numbers. I'm going to execute this. You also get the same error. So type error cannot convert the complex numbers into the bytes. So this is also not possible. So now I will give the string value. Can anybody guess, is it possible to convert the strings into the bytes? Okay, let me take very simple. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it here. X is equal to something like, for example, India. Okay, so I'm just giving the year is India. I'm going to convert this string into this. You can see string argument without encoding. So it means that we can able to convert the string into the bytes, but we need encoding specifying it. We have to specify the encoding. So how to specify the encoding? Anybody guess here? So here, we don't have here encoding is equal to no. But how to specify the encoding for this string? Anybody guess? Please let it be interactive, guys. Otherwise, we can do it on the directly on the YouTube, right? So I am doing it on the Zoom. Let's make it as an interactive session. I want to make it as an encoding. Encoding techniques are there, right? There is a lot of encoding techniques are there. So encoding is UTF-8. I think you know about this. UTF-8 or UTF-16 and UTF-32 are like ISO 9000. There are the almost all I think more than 100 encoding techniques are there, but we actually use this UTF-8, UTF-16 and that. But how to specify this one? Can you please ping your answers on the chat? How to specify the encoding for the bytes? Not only bytes, how to do it basically? Come on, please. Any answers? Okay, so there is no keyword called encoding here, but we can directly specify this UTF-8 or UTF-16. This is actually works that way. Now what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to execute this code. This you see, String argument without encoding techniques. How this comes? Because I've given this one into the print statement. That is my bad. Okay. Instead of this, you have to give it here in this. Okay, so here it is. That is my incorrect. So now I'm going to execute this code. You can see this. The India is printed. So if you want to convert string into the bytes, we have to define the encoding. So even if you go to the when you are creating a file, if you want to specify the bytes, we can also use the encoding, right? When you are creating the file also. So it's not only the UTF-8, UTF-16, and ISO 9000. Okay, there are many things are there. We can use it. But when I'm specifying the UTF-16, this is got in different way because these byte encoding techniques are different. Okay, UTF-16 will give a different result, UTF-8 will give different result, and UTF-32 will give different results. There is a different encodings are there. We'll see the different things here. So basic idea is to convert the data into the byte. Byte is nothing but is group of bits, like 8 bits is equal to 1 bit, and each bit is represented with one and zeros kind of thing, right? So this is always the bytes is there. Now I want to convert the boolean value into byte. Is it possible? Now let me take yes is equal to true. How to define the boolean value in Python? S is the keyword, which is it is not keyword, it is a variable. True is the keyword which we assign to the S. This is the boolean value, right? I want to convert this boolean into the bytes. So I'm going to use a print statement, and there is a function name is called the bytes. Inside the bytes, I can pass this S. Okay, let me see this whether I'm able to run this one, right? So bytes are also converted. So what is not able to convert? So float cannot be converted into bytes. Complex numbers are cannot converted into bytes, but strings can be converted when you define the encoding format. Then only we can see. Otherwise, it is not possible. But integers, we can directly convert it. That's not an issue. So this is one way of dealing with. This is whole thing is one way. We are using the function basically. You are using the function here. I don't want to use the function this time. I want to create directly. Is it possible? Okay, it is possible. I want to create direct representation of the variable. For example, let me take here y is equal to, I will use the b of this, b stands for the bytes, and I'm going to specify here the 4. Okay, now I want to print of y. So is it possible, guys? I'm just going to say print of y. So now I'm executing this code. You can see this. So we got the b of 4. Right? It is a conversion. But what is the proof this one is the byte is converted or not? We can use the type function here. Say we can use the type function and we can execute this, and you see it is a class is bytes only. So there is a two ways we can create a bytes in Python. One way is using the bytes function. Another one is the representation, like you can use the b and after that single quotes we can give. Now I'm going to tell you in the little advanced here. Can I use the double quotes here instead of single quotes? Now I'm going to use the double quotes here. For example, 4. And if I'm going to execute this code, still I can see the output. It does not a matter whether you use the single quote, double quote, or triple quote, but this accepts here. Okay, I'm giving now. So in second, I'm giving now triple quotes. Here also triple quotes. See, in Python, generally we can represent the string into the 3 formats: single quote, double quote, triple quote. So that's where I'm refining it here. This is working it. So just remember, bytes can accept the any type of the string. I mean, in the any way you are represented. Of course, that is a string data type, right? Okay. Now this is how it is working. So this is the 4. Y is equal, y of b of 4 I have given. So basically this is a string. What if I'm not defining this one into the quotes? If I give the b4, then this is a wrong, right? You have to define that one into the somewhere like this, right? In the quote, single quotes, double quote, triple quotes, then only it works. So anybody have any questions on this? Hope it is clear to you. Yeah.
I have a question. Where this bytes, this concept is used?
Excellent question. So where we can use these bytes in the sense serialization. I have a Python objects. Okay, I want to convert this Python objects into the different programming. For example, you are writing the code in the .NET. I am writing the code into the Python, right? But there should be between the web services will be there, right? Like REST services. There is a different web services we use, like transferring the data through the bytes, right? You want to convert the Python into the Python objects into the bytes. That bytes only will be transferred over the network to the other programmer, like Android developer, .NET developer, Java developer. We can use these concepts there. So that's where serialization way we can use it. But we don't directly use this bytes function, but internally all serialization techniques are using it. In Python is most important thing. There is a, okay, there is a pickle. So this is one of the module which is inbuilt module. For example, tomorrow when you are creating the machine learning model, you want to export that model into the bytes in the different format. So we can definitely use this bytes because pickle internally uses the using the byte. Because by using the pickle, I can send the data to the JSON format, or like that's where it works. Generally, we use the JSON to communicating between the two different languages, right? Or two different networks when you're using. So to answer your question in shortly, we can use it into the serialization, but not directly. We use any other inbuilt libraries or third-party libraries to do this activity. Serialization and deserialization. These are the two important concepts generally we can consider. Okay. Now, there is one more important drawback of these bytes. Okay. So what is the drawback? I want to change the existing value of bytes. Is it possible? Example, for example, I have the bytes of, you can mention here 444. I'm directly taking the value instead of storing into the different variable. Now I'm going to use this print of bytes. Anybody guess what would be the output of this? Now I'm going to execute this code. You can see there's a lot of the bytes which is flown into this output, right? So you can see this, there are so many 444. But the problem here, okay, I will go and change this way. The 42 I'm going to take. Let me see this output here. I will get the 42 here, the size, but okay. I want to change the, once I define the bytes, I want to change the value. Is it possible? For example, you can take here j is equal to, and giving this value is the b of, and we can say that we can give like 1 2 something like this. I want to change this value. Is it possible? Now if I go and print of this j, I'll get the output is the binary, I mean not binary, byte format of this one. You can see directly we got it. But if I'm going to use this one into the bytes, I want to change the value of this. Is it possible? I'm asking. Anybody guess here? I want to change the value of the bytes. Is it possible? This is wrong. When you're giving the string, you must be specify the encoding. That is what is missing. Okay, this is what we have. I want to change this 1 2 instead of 2. I want to mention the 3. So it is not possible. We can't change the value of the existing bytes. So bytes are immutable. Bytes are immutable. Do you know? Bytes are immutable. Okay. Now I'm going to little advanced now. Can I convert the list into the bytes? First of all, what is a list, you may ask? Okay, list is nothing but a sequence of data, and which can be duplicated, and it will maintain the data into the insertion order. That is where we are mentioning the indexing. I will come to that point. Can we use this? The bytes are immutable. That is a drawback here. So I will come to this point little later. Bytes are immutable. That is, we can't change the value of the bytes once you assign it. But there is a solution for this. Python bought a new data type name is called the byte array. Okay. So this we'll figure out once we understand the list tuple set, and we'll come back to this one. So byte is very important topic. So that's the reason I started at the beginning now, but we are going to explore this one. So remember guys, we deal with now numbers because all the types we have to deal with here. So that's where this is done. I'll come back to this bytes. Let's move on to the very important topic here is the complex numbers. Okay, so these complex numbers generally we use into the machine learning, or statistical programming, or any symbolic programmings which you use into the Python. Okay, especially intersection of the data and all which you are finding it. Complex numbers plays very important role in Python related applications, right? Of course, you don't use directly, but these complex number data types that I mean already using into some of the predefined functions. Okay, so let's get into the topic now. How to define the complex number? First, we should understand the integer and the float. Then we can see this. What is the integer? For example, age. Age is always an integer. Am I correct? We cannot make age as a decimal number. It's not possible. But we can say that there is a 45 years of 7 months is the age. We can do it. Okay, that is a little weird, but yeah, we can say that age is equal to 45. It is an integer, and there is something called, for example, you can say income. I will take the income. I can define into the float value. Okay, so for example, $400 million and 35, something like that. We can define it here, right? So I want to convert this age into float, float into age. Is it possible? The Python is giving, there is a function name is called the integer. There is another function name is called the float. Here are the two types of the functions we have it. Okay, I mean for the numbers like integer and float. There is another type is also, the another function is also there, that is called complex. But before that, I want to convert this income into the integer. Is it possible? So I'm using the int function, which is the predefined function. I'm using it now. The print of int of income. This is what I am doing it now. I'm going to execute this code. What is the output of this? 400, right? Because this after decimal, this point is omitted. This is not considerable, right? Now, what I'm going to do, guys, the print of, okay, and I want to convert this age into the float. Is it possible? Yes. By using the float function, I can convert, because these conversions are very important when you are working into the real-time projects, because most of the times we use the converting the data types into the integer to the float, float to the integer, string into the integer, integer to the string, something like that we commonly do into the real-time projects. Okay, so mostly we use these functions for the conversion purpose, converting the different forms, like converting the integer into the float. This float, what I'm going to do, right, this float of, I'm giving now age. This I'm going to execute now. We can see this, there is a 45.0, because this is actually an integer, but I converted into the float by using the float function. Okay, it's not a big deal. Okay, can I add the integer and float? Yes, we can add it. It is a mathematics. Nothing is a big deal in the Python. Now let's focus on to the complex number. What is the complex number in Python? So complex number is equal to, generally in the mathematics, complex number is equal to, and we can say that real part, okay, a real number or real part, and imaginary part. So imaginary part or imaginary number. Generally in the mathematics in school days and college days, we use the I, right? This is called I, the representation of this. Example of this, you can take any values here. For example, 2 plus and 6i. So this is a complex number, and that's what we studied in this in the mathematics in our school days and all. But Python is not accepting the I is the for the complex numbers, because there is a complex issues. They said use the J. J is the reserved the alphabet for the complex numbers. That is what we have to represent. So if you want to create a complex numbers, it's very simple. There is a two ways we can create it. One way is just, I'm going to use the C1, that is a complex number 1, and 4 plus and 6j. This is one way. The another way is that you can use the complex function. Okay, I can use the directly complex function, which is the predefined function, which is there in Python. We can use, you can pass this first value is 4 and second value is 6. Okay, first value is 4 and second value is 6. These both are correct only. These both are correct. There is a two ways we can create a complex numbers in Python, and one is the complex function, another one is the J. If you are not mentioned the J, if you are not using this is an integer. This is an integer, right? But if I'm going to say that 4 plus, okay, 4 plus and 6j, then this is a complex number. So I want to print these both of them, like we'll see the output of this, right? Print C of 1, again I'm saying that print C of 2, and let's see the output of this. So I'm going to execute this time we can see the same output. Now question comes to our mind, can I use the only imaginary part? Yes, we can use it imaginary part. Now if I'm going to execute this code, you can see the output is the 6j, right? So we can use it. So, but if you use only 6, then this is considered as an integer. If you use the j, this is considered as the complex imaginary part or imaginary number. That's how it works, right? Okay. Now, can I use the here float values instead of using the integers? Yes, we can use the float values because it is also number, right? So I'm going to use now 4.5 and 6.5. That is called the real part and imaginary part. We are able to see the output. Okay. Now the deal is, can I add the two complex numbers? Yes, we can add the two complex numbers. It is similar to the mathematics. Now I want to add the C1 and C2. What would be the expected output? Because you can see this real part is 0. Here in this case, real part is 0. Am I correct, guys? Real part is 0 and imaginary part is like 6j. And here also, we have both the values. Real part is 4.5 and this is a 6.5. Here we are dealing with many things. One is 0, another one is the only imaginary part is there, and these are all the float values. But if you want to add these complex numbers, it will add, but your output will come like this. C1 plus C2, that is a complex number 1 plus complex number 2, which is always like first adding the, separately it will adding the real first part, that is a integer part, the first part, whatever we have it, real part. So we can add the real part, and separately another one is adding the imaginary part. These are the two different ways it will add, right? Real part means real numbers. Real number starts from the negative values, positive values, and 0 and float value. All these things will be considered as a real number. What is a real number in mathematics? Real number is from the minus infinity, minus n2 and plus n. We can say that it will consider all the values, right? That's where this comes. So we can also subtract these values by using the C1 minus C2, and all this works. So complex numbers can be created by using the complex function, and as well as the directly we can represent this 6j and all. So I hope this is clear to you. Okay. So coming to the point, very important topic here is the strings. What is a string? How we can use it? And more important, before going to the string, one more small point which I need to tell here in the complex numbers. So very simple. All these numbers, integer, float, complex number, all are immutable. What is meaning of immutable? Once you define the value, we cannot change it. For example, age is equal to 45. I can't modify it because I have to modify the whole value. If I say that 47, Python consider this is the new value. That this is not be considered. So I will come to that point. I will explain you clearly with the list and tuple and all. You'll get more idea how to get into that point. For time being, you just keep in your mind, all the numbers are immutable. I mean, integer, float, and complex numbers are the immutable. We can't change the value once it is assigned. Okay. So even here, we have seen in the bytes itself is the immutable, but byte array is the mutable, but we are not discussed yet. I will come to that point. Let's focus on to the string first. So how string can be represented in Python? All right. String is very interesting thing. In Java, if we go, in Java language, we use only double quotes to representation of the string, right? But in Python, there is the three options we have it, right? So for example, I want to represent a particular person name. Okay, for example, take country name or whatever it is, country underscore name, and we can mention it here is the India, right? So you can just mention here country underscore name. I'm just going to mention it here. This is the variable I assign to the string. So if I'm going to print off this country name, this will be printed as an output. I want to change it to the single quote. Yes, it works. I want to change it to the triple quote works. So in Python, actually, a string can be represented by using the single quote, double quote, triple quote. So question comes to you like how many ways we can create a string in Python? So one is the single quote and another one is the double quotes. And any other way is there? Triple quotes. Anybody guess what is the another way of creating the string? There is a method called str, right? So str method is also inbuilt method. We can use it. So if we want to create a string in Python, there is the 4 ways we can do it. Okay. So the one which I said like, okay, single quote, double quote, triple quote, and string. Now this country name, if I'm going to print it here, you can see this is India, which is printed now. If I'm going to give single quote, it also will print it. Okay. So that is a little representation about, but most of the times use this triple quote. This is a different subject. I will talk about this. This is generally considered as the multiple ways we can define it. In Python, if you want to define a comments we use always hash. This is a single line comment, right? Okay, single line comment. This is called single line comment. Don't worry about this exclamatory. This is for highlighting the color. I'm using it. Otherwise, it is not required. This is also comment. Since I'm using the different theme of VS Code here, I want to highlight this color, so that's the reason I'm using the exclamatory. There is a separate extension I am using for this. If you want extensions, you can go here, you can type the format of your VS Code. This is look and wise I have taken, otherwise it is not a deal. Okay, so single line comment, and another one is the multi-line comments. If you want to define the multi-line comments, this is the multi-line comments. So multi-line comments, you have to define, or you can write whatever it is, XY, some text. So we can write it here, close. So this is called a multi-line comment. If you keep this one into one variable, that is a called string. So be careful with this. Okay, so G is equal to, when I put this whole thing into the Z, this is a string. When I remove, I'm not keeping into the variable and I'm just using it like this, this is a comment. But if you write the same thing into the class, that is called Docstring. Okay, triple quotes can be used for the three purposes. One purpose is comment. Most of the people knows about this comment section, especially for the multi-line comment. Am I correct? Multi-line comment. This we already know it. But there is another purpose is representation of the string. So we can use for the string. And also another purpose is for the docstring. We can talk this one in, already I spoken in one of the Python hoops concepts. But you can also look at that video. Otherwise, no problem. I will explain you in the upcoming sessions. Okay. So multi-line comment, string, and docstring. Docstring is something little different, which is a first line, which is the first statement of the class, where we use and define the what exactly class is referred to. But we can talk later. Just remember, guys. Okay. Now coming to the point here, I want to string can store the information in the backend. For example, okay, let me take game. The game is equal to baseball. Okay, so this is the game is equal to baseball. I want to store this data into the memory. How can I store? Okay, I'm going to show you something on my VS Code. I don't know what went wrong here. Yeah, it is not working, but not an issue because it is pointing to the different location. Otherwise, I will explain you that. Okay, fine, no problem. That is not coming up here. Okay, but anyway, for the next session, I will show you. But how this data can be stored into the memory? How the data can be stored into the memory?
Using print.
You are saying that how to print the value. How to value can be stored into the memory. So this, okay.
Through variables.
Indexing concept, right? Or this value, of course, how these values can be stored into the memory, like based on the index. But for example, let me talk about here. The game is equal to baseball. This is a string, which is a combination of group of characters. Am I correct? These characters can be like alphabets or numbers or special values. You can write anything in this game. I mean, this is a string. String can be like group of characters, like all the characters, alphabets and everything. So if I'm not defining anything here, this is an empty string. The game is an empty string. If I'm going to define something like alphabet, it is also string. If I define with the numbers, also string. Coming to the point here, how these values stores into the memory. So this strings follows the indexing concept. So indexing means what? So indexing is actually the two ways in Python. Okay, here. So one is the forward direction, another one is the backward direction, or we can say positive indexing and negative indexing. First of all, what is the index? Index is a representation of the position of the character, right? For example, you take the B, A, S, E, B, A, L, and L. These values store into the memory like this. Okay, memory in the sense it's all stored into one memory location only, but it will go like this one. Zero position is A, sorry, zero position is B, and one position is A. Like that, the values can be represented. So indexing is always starts from the 0 to n minus 1. Am I correct, guys? So how many values are there here? Totally 8 values. So we are actually using the 0 to 7. So if you want to see this one correctly, you can use it. So I can see the B is 0 and A is 1, S is 2, and like this is the position of the characters which is got stored into the memory. An interesting note is that this is only happening in the Python. So we have the negative direction also. What is the negative direction? This is a positive direction, right? So this is a positive indexing, we can say. Direction in the sense positive indexing we are giving. Indexing is starts by default from the 0. But when it comes to the negative indexing, how we can represent same value is minus n. Minus n is nothing but minus 8. This is the same data, guys. Okay, don't confuse with this. So if I want b value, I can use the 0 or minus 8. Both are same only. Now I'm going to use this minus 7 and this one is minus 6, like that till minus n. So any confusions here? Minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, and minus 2, and last one is the minus n, right? So this is how the representation, this is how the data can be stored into the memory, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, minus 8 to this one. But how to get these values? Because you can see here there is a baseball. From this baseball, I want to print B or A or S or any value or any character I want to print. So as I said, so you can use the print statement here, or before that, let me tell you, the game is the variable name, which is a string variable. If I want the data, I will use the indexing here. That is a square bracket. So indexing is always represents by using the square brackets in Python. But only thing you should remember, this square bracket, you have to write immediate after the variable name. For example, if you write after equal to, this is called list. Remember, very careful. If you write immediate after the variable name, this is called indexing, right? So I want to go and look at the data here. For example, game of 0. And if I go and print of game of 0, this game of 0, what is the output here is B. Am I correct? If I go and print this, I'll get the value is B. Even if I give the minus 8 also, I'll get the same output. Am I correct? Because this is a negative indexing which I'm giving, we got the same value. So we can give the positive indexing and negative indexing, we'll get the same values. It's up to you how you are defining the data, right? Now, I want to define the minus 1 here. So this is the most frequently people use the minus 1 if you want the last element of the given string. So this is a question comes to you, always mind. How to retrieve the last element or last the value of the given string? You have to use the minus 1 by default. So because that's where it starts. I'm going to execute this code. You can see the L is printed, right? Any questions or any doubts here with respect to the indexing? Okay, so indexing is represented with the square brackets. Now you may wonder, can I use the float values in the index? No. Index is always okay, positive or negative integer value. It never be a float value. It is always like a number, which is an integer number only, okay, generally. So now I want to see the address of this. Okay? Generally, sometime back before the session, we understand we can use the ID function. I'm going to use the game ID of game. If I'm going to execute this, there is ID is assigned to this one. Okay, but we'll talk about this one little later. Okay, this is a little advanced concepts. We can talk how these values can be stored and everything. Just I'm showing. But when I go and execute multiple times, this value may change. Why this value is changing? If this is an address, no. If it is an address, why this is changing it every time? Why ID is, so I will talk about these concepts later. Just keep in that, not only the string, for every variable which you use in Python, there is ID is created for that, but ID is not persisted constantly, and the value can be changed, guys. So that's something you just keep in your mind. Okay, I'll come to this point little later. Okay, so let's go to the now. I want to print ball from the baseball. Is it possible? I want to print a ball from the baseball. How to print? So here, this is called like indexing. We talked about the concept called the indexing here. This is done. Now I'm going to talk some concept is called the slicing. Right? Can it work? Slicing. What is the slicing? Slicing is nothing but your range of index range. Which range you want? Okay. If I want to print a ball, so you can see this B is represented at the 4th position. To the L, there is a 4, 5, 6, 7. If I get these index values, I can able to print the ball in my output. right? So what I can do, right? Okay, I'm going to use this slicing. Slicing is always represented by using the square bracket. Inside that there is a colon. Okay, there is a square bracket, and inside that there is a colon. So how this value can be printed? So this is the syntax: start index, and last one is a stop index. Remember, stop index is never be counted. The stop index is never be counted in the flow, right? So this is the syntax which I am telling here. We have to use a square bracket, and inside that there is a start index and stop index. What if I am not represented? What if I am not specified these two? No problem. It will be considered as the whole string. Now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take the print statement, and I want to print a ball in the output. So baseball, the variable name is the game. So I will take the variable name is the game. So I will create your square brackets. Inside the square brackets, I will put the colon. Let me first see the output of this. I'm not slicing with any indexing here. By default, I'm going with the flow. So we got whole string, right? Of course, we are not slicing with any index range here. So I'm going to specify the range here. So you can see baseball B, second B is starting at the fourth position. So I'm going to give the 4 here. I will not give the stop index. I'll directly print here. I'll get the ball. I got my output. But when you are specifically specifying this one, for example, you want to give this last value is the 7. There is a 7, right? Okay, you can see there is a 7 here. I'm just giving the end index. If I'm going to print this, you can see this only BIL is printed. Last index is a stop index. Stop index is never be counted, right? So I can get the value of this the particularly this string by using this slice operator, right? So this is a positive index. The same output I will get it through the negative index. Can it be possible with the negative index? Yes, of course it is possible. So you can see here the output is negative indexing is actually B, second B is starting with the -5 and ending with the -1. So what I'm going to do, right, this 4, I will change it to the -5 and I will give this one is the -1. Now I'm going to print this output. You can see the both EBAL, it is the reverse order we got. But what output I want? Anybody tell me? I want to print off this ball with the negative indexing. So we got now EBAL. So extra we got E. Anybody tell me, can I use this instead of -5? Can I use the -6? Now if I'm going to execute this, you'll get the S is extra is adding. So how this is working? If you understand the negative indexing, we can easily create a reverse say string. So what is the negative indexing works? How it is working? I want to print this ball, the ball from the given string by using the negative indexing, not the positive indexing. Can you try? I'm giving the -6, it is going like this. If I give the -1, if I'm okay, if I'm going to execute this code, you can see only L is printed. For example, if I give only -5, if I'm going to execute this code, what will happen? This is so instead of -5, shall I give the -6 here? If I'm going to execute this, what will happen? So instead of this, I'll give -4. Then we can see the output here. We got it right. Can anybody guess what is happening with respect to this negative indexing? Anybody guess? Because you can look at this already. I've given the positions of this. The B, second B is actually there at the -4, right? So last, when you're giving the stop index means by default, it will be considered as the length of the string or like -1 only. So this will traverse from the -4, -3, -2 and -1. Since you are not specified anything, that will not be counted. So that will be counted as a length of the string. What is the length of the string here? It is 8. How to find the length of the string in Python? Not only for the string, we can use for the other sequence objects also. Length of the string is length of game. So I'm going to execute this code. You can see this, there is 8. So basically by default value is 8. So if you're not specified any value in the slicing, this will be considered as the length of the string. Okay. So if you're not specified anything, this will be considered as the length of the string. You can see the output is same. So always you need to remember here, okay, if you want to play with the strings in the programming, you always must be focused on the negative indexing. This is plays very important role in the projects, right? When you want to define a logic and all. So any questions you have? Do you have any questions, guys? Okay, so negative indexing, positive indexing, and there is a slicing here, and the length of the string we got it now. We are able to say it. Now I want to. There is no term called adding the strings. That is a wrong term. We can concatenate the strings. We never add the strings generally. Okay, let's go now. I'm going to use the first name, and that is equal to like Sachin, and the last name is Tendulkar. I'm just defining the two names here. And can I add these two strings? Generally, um, there is no concept called adding the two strings, but we can say concatenating the two strings. Now I want to use this plus operator. So the first name and plus is an operator we can use, and the last name, and the print of first name and last operator we got now output is Sachin Tendulkar, right? Now what I'm going to do, right, very simple, I'm going to use here minus. Okay, first of all, strings cannot be applicable for the arithmetic operators. Plus, minus, divided by, and multiplications. These are not possible with the two strings. Two strings, it is not possible, but plus operator is possible, but this is not adding the two strings. It is concept is called the concatenating the strings. The term you have to use very accurately here. Adding the two strings is not possible, but in other ways we can say that concatenating the two strings. Come to the point, can I add the 100 strings into the one place? Yes, we can add it. Now I'm going to use something called, okay, so okay, I'm going to use a middle name or something like this. So middle name is equal to, and I'm just going to give the Ramesh, Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. So I want to print this. Okay, we can add this middle name here. Just I'm going to execute this code. I can see that values, right? Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. If you want to format, you can format. That is a different thing. String formatting is a separate concept I will take. Right now we are able to print this one. But what I will do, right, I'm going to use this another thing. I want to multiply the one string. Multiplying with one string is possible, but not with the two strings. Okay, so I'm going to use this first name and star. Star is actually for the multiplications purpose, right? I want to use 4. When I use the 4 means 4 times of the first name. So if I go and execute, the Sachin is printed 4 times. If I use the 41 here, 40 times Sachin will be printed. I mean, the text string will be printed. So the multiplication with one string is possible with the number. So the string with, so you have the point which you remember here. So string str and int is possible. But so you cannot use the str and str is not possible. Str and str is wrong. This is not possible. This scenario is not possible, but string with integer is possible. Okay. I'm going a little deeper. Can I use the float value here instead of the string? Now I'm using this 4.5. If I'm going to execute this, string cannot be multiplied with the float. Just remember, string can only be multiplied with the integers. You may think this is very silly to understand these concepts, but when it comes to the real-time projects, somewhere some logic will throw this kind of error. Okay, this time it is not a big deal because you are looking at the very sample code and simple kind of things. But when you go to the actual programming, when you are developing the applications, somewhere in the log, you see your programming is interrupted. It's because of you are multiplying this integer with, okay, there is a with the float, sorry, string with is a float. So that time you realize that, okay, there is something went wrong. Of course, in Python, the errors are very straightforward most of the times. It's not like you can confuse with that. But just keep in mind, you are multiplying with the string with the float value. That's time we can get this error. Okay. So any questions, guys? Anybody have any questions? Okay.
One question. Where you have used this Ramesh asterisk and 4 to give the spacing there, how will you do it?
You want space, right? Here.
This first name asterisk star, the
First
second
name,
line, the
second
second
line.
below that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
here.
yeah.
The formatting, how will you do it?
What do you want to print? Okay, you are saying
Like,
that I got this
yeah,
output. You want space.
yeah, spacing, how will you do it?
Can I use this one? There is an end is equal to, can I give the space here? Is it possible? If I go and execute this, I'll get that the last only, right? But I want to go to this. This one is not directly, is not possible. We can do it by using the what way we can do it? For example, this is the first name and this is the 4. This 4 we have to do it little with iteration process, but directly it is not possible. I understand you. The first name, after that you need a space here, Sachin space and Sachin space and Sachin space and Sachin,
Yeah.
or something like in another format you can use it. But there is another way is there, but if you can consider, there is a functions here in this string. We can use the string functions here. So you got it now. So this directly it is not possible to apply it, but this is the first name. So for example, if you use this first name, there is a functions on top of it. So you have to use the formatting function and you can work on it.
Okay.
Or else we can say that anything else we can use. I think format function is only better choice. Or else there is another way is like using the f string. F string which is introduced in the 3.6. For example, if you can define it, this is f string. If I say xyz, this is f string. This was introduced in 3.6 versions, but I will talk this one. Okay, we'll see with
Okay.
the functions we can implement. So coming to the point, guys, okay, string functions, we'll see only few functions which are very important in the projects. Do you have any questions, anybody?
Hello. Yeah, why is the negative indexing used when we already have a simpler one, say positive indexing?
Because that's how that they define it. The negative indexing, like, okay, the point is going to tell the Python here, you can use the indexing for integers. The integers means it's a negative and positive. But in Java, it is not the case. We have to use only positive integers. Negative indexing is not allowed in the Java. But in Python, to answer your question, there is a positive. Why is the negative means? The Python is designed like that. They are saying that integer means it's a negative and positive, not only the positive. Or your question is different. I answered in different way.
Uh,
Uh, Example, I can suggest to reverse this string. We
Yeah.
need negative indexing.
Yeah. Example one is a reverse string. If you want to reverse a string, we can easily write it. Can anybody tell me what is the logic of reverse string? For example, I have a string here. For example, we can take a game is equal to, this time I will take, for example, cricket. This is the game. I want to reverse a string. So it's a very simple one line of code I can write. Can I use this one? Anybody tell me how to write reverse a string? Can I use this -1 and colon this? What is the output of this if I'm going to execute this? I got only T, but I want to reverse a string. How it is possible? Can anybody tell me what is a single
Uh,
line of code?
that -1 will be in last position.
Exactly. So if I'm going to use this one, if I go and execute this, you can see this is got reversed. So that time it can be useful. What if I'm not use, if I don't have the minus, see, it is not just for reverse string, they introduce the negative indexing, but the concept is that they are telling that integer means it's always positive and negative. So indexing is always represents with the integers. But example case, we can take the reverse string for the use case scenario. That's how we can easily achieve it. But reverse string can be done in the n number of ways. Not only this way, we can use the for loop, we can use the map reduce filter, we can use the lambda expressions. So many ways we can do it. It's up to you how you are defining it. But this is a very shortest code where we can reverse a string in Python. The still question is answer or like okay. So moving to the next one, what are the functions we use in Python, especially for the strings? So let's get into the few functions and we'll figure out. Okay. So now
One more
string.
question can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead,
One
please.
question. In this line, the last one, print game, and when where we are reversing the this string, the last there we put the step size. No, I got a
Yes.
bit confused. But we are giving there the -1. Not clear to me.
Which one?
That last position is to give the step size, and there we have given -1, and that is giving the string in the reverse order.
Yeah, this is a little explanation is required. So here the notation is assume that this is something x, y. Let me go to that. Okay. Here last one is, yeah, you are right. It is incremented. It's a count in incremented for the C. So we are incrementing this one. It is not step basically. It is incrementing. Of course, step is also kind of incrementing -1 and -3, and like that we are incrementing and we are reversing a string, right? For example, this is the start index, this is the end index. We are giving the complete string here. Am I correct? If I'm going to give here 0, and the length of the string is how much here? 8 minus 1. I mean, length of the string is the here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 7, right? 3 and 3 and 7. And we can give here 6. 0 is 0 colon 6. Instead of this, I have to give the 7 because that is the length of this string, right? If I go and execute this, so we got nothing. Can anybody tell me why we are not received any output? I'm giving the start index is 0 and end index is 7. We are not receiving any error. For example, if I remove this one to this, and we got the complete string. So if I give now here instead of 1, if I give the 2, you'll get what is the output, guys? CIKT, because R is not included, C is not included, E is not. So step by one. See, first one is included, 0th index, and one index is step 2. I mean, it is incremental like this. For example, if I'm giving the 3, and you can see that's first one is printed C, and next one RI is not printed, and again C is printed, right? So now I'm going to use the -1. So instead of this, okay, if I'm going to use this -1, what will happen? We have got the blank. Anybody guess why this blank is came? When you're dealing with the negative value, negative indexing, positive indexing is fine, but the negative indexing, because it is gone to the last value in this -1, it is trying to do the step out, but there is no any value after the -1. Am I correct? There is no any value after the -1. So can I give the -8 here instead of -1? Because sorry, -8 is out of bound. So I will give now something like -6. If I'm going to execute this, do you see any output? No. If I'm going to give the -3, do you see any output? No. Anybody guess what is happening here? -3 we got. This is wrong. -3 we have to give. We got nothing. Anybody tell me what is happening in this case?
I think generally the step size is positive number only. I'm not sure about this colon and -1, but step size is positive number only to be considered.
No. A positive number means step is positive number, but it comes to this syntax, it is an increment value. I think you are referring to the range function. In the range function, we have the starts, stop, and the step. But here, little different here. So it is a beginning to the end. We are counting. So we can use the term called counting here. Counting by -3, counting by -2, counting by -1. If I say I'm not using anything here, whole string can be considered. Now, if I say counting by -1 means how this is counting by -1. Counting by -1 means, okay, if I'm using this cricket and each and every time this -1 starts, okay, T and -1. For example, what if I'm using the -2? If I'm going to execute this, you can see -2 is counting. So you understand, right? It is incrementing. It's counting by -2, -3, -1, minus that, like that we can give. So if we use the whole string here, the start index and end index, and after that we can give the positive index, that is a reversing, that is where like we can print the whole string. But this value, we have the start index is nothing, stop index is nothing, and finally we are using the counting. So this is not considered as a step generally. Generally we can say it is a step, but in this notation we can use it as a counting the values.
Okay. Okay, clear to me now. Yeah.
It's beginning to the end, okay? Beginning to the end we can use. For example, let me do it this way. And okay, let me tell you with the clear one example short. If I use the only the 2, what is the output here? This is, I will tell you very clearly. This is called beginning to start to end. It's very simple, we can say. Start to end and counting by 2. So let me go and print this output, then we can see this because I want you to clear the doubt here. You can see here the counting by 2. First one is, it is whole string is considered here. The whole string is considered and starting to the end, counting by 2. First C is printed. After that R will not be printed. Then I printed, like that it is, we are able to see the output. Now what if I am going to give the same thing with the -2? So I'm going to give here -2. This is not start, this is the end. End to start. This is the logic, okay? Counting by 2. Okay, so this is, I can say, instead of counting by 2, I can use the term, exact term is called the counting down by 2. I think this is the notation, right? If I go and execute this code, you can see this is completely reversed. Start to end counting by 2, end to start counting down by 2 because it is a negative value, -2, it is down. Basically, that's how it works. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is important. The people, we have to keep this start to end and end to start. When you use the negative value, is always end to start because that's what we generally consider for this slicing, right? You can always keep in your mind. This is the flow how this negative indexing will be. So coming to the point, string operations. What are the main string operations? Okay, I'm not going to talk all the string operations because it will consume our day. A whole day will be taken. But we'll focus main string operations. For example, I will take something like, okay, so programming language. So programming underscore language is equal to, you can mention some language name here. So what is the language name? You can say that, for example, Python, right? So this is a programming language. I'm not given the extension, that's why it is not showing up. Let me give the extension. Okay, programming language is equal to Python. So what I'm going to do, right, I want to convert this one into the uppercase. So very simple functions are there. I don't want to invest time here to discuss about that, but if you see, when you put the dot and control enter, you see a lot of functions here. Capitalize, case fold, center, count, encode, endwidths. These are the so many functions we have it. Some functions are very straightforward, guys. Example, I want to say, I want to convert this string into the upper, I can use upper function, I can convert. So there is no point of investing time here to understand this one in much in that way. So let me go and print this. We can see this is converted into the uppercase. But there is something is called the title, which is very important. So there is a function name is called the title. What is the title? Now I'm printing this, you don't see the much difference here. But when I'm writing in the small letters, this Python, so Python is open source programming language or open source programming language. So I'm just writing it here. You can look at this, the whole string, and there is a spaces in between, but this space is also considered as a character in the string, right? I'm going to print this. You can see the output. Every word of the first letter, okay, which is showing us into the uppercase letter. Even if you go to the Times of India newspaper in online or New York Times or whatever the newspapers you see, the headlines on the headlines, how they print, first letter is always like in the uppercase letter, right? Even when you are writing into the emails, business, generally how you write email subject, we never going to write a first letter in the small case, right? That is one of the business case. In email, when you are sending a email, right, in the email there is a subject. In the subject we always write this format, right? So every first word is in the uppercase as for the business etiquette. Okay, fine. So this is where like we can print the title here. Okay, so if you want, this is we can use it for the title of the web page, something like that we can use. And again, one more is the programming language dot. And there is some more important things I need to discuss here. For example, I want to replace. So there is a replace function here. There is a old string and new string. I want to replace. For example, Python is open source programming language. So I want to replace this one instead of open source. I want to replace it. Python is free programming language or something like this. Okay. So I want to replace this whole string. You can take this open source. Is it possible, guys? I want to replace this one with the free source language or something. I want to do it or free language or free defined language. I mean, this is not the correct term, but I'm just using it here. So you can go and put this programming language. If you want to print this whole thing, you can take it as in the print statement. Why we need to store into the another variable. I'm going to define this. I'm going to execute this code. You can see Python is free defined programming language. Example. So what is this? This is a string dot replace function. Replace functions takes the first parameter is the old string and the second parameter is the new string. I can say it is a substring. So open source is a substring in the given string and you want to replace with the new and we can define it, right? Now the point comes here. Let me take another string, So I will repeat this something like this. For example, this string only we can take. Why we need to go for another example? So Python is used for and machine learning, right? Use it for the machine learning projects, machine learning, which I am just writing it here. So I want to replace this Python with Julia. Is it possible, guys? Okay, Julia is also same thing, right? So, okay. So this Python I want to replace with Julia. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So now if I go and use this Python and I want to replace with the Julia language. So I will use the Julia. And now you can see this. If I'm going to execute this code, you will interestingly see something here. I want to print, right? You see that first one is replaced successfully and the second one is not replaced because this is the P is in the uppercase letter. So you should remember, guys, replacing the substring is always should match with the case. Okay, case sensitive, right? So it must be matched with the case. That's what is happening. Now, what I'm going to do, right, guys, it's very simple now. This Python Julia, this time, what I will do, right, I will use small case here. I'm going to execute this code. This whole thing is got replaced. I'm going to use uppercase letter. That should be fine. Okay, but now question comes to your client asks that don't replace the first Python keyword, replace the second one. Anybody guess? I don't want to replace the Julia with the first occurrence of the Python. I want to replace with the second one. Can it be possible? If you look at the syntax of replace function, the replace function will take the last one is, you can see there is a count. But unfortunately, this can work occurs only first occurrence. For example, you can see there is a count here. The count means just you can give the number. Okay, just count one. If I go and execute this code, you can see Julia is replaced with the first occurrence. Am I correct? For example, I'm using the Python in the 100 times here, for example, in the given string, and also I will use one more time here. Just I can write some X data. If I go and execute this, okay, even though Python is there here, it is only one time is updated. If I want to replace with the two occurrences, I can use it, right? But see, the Julia is replaced with the two places, but last one is the Python, still it is there. But question comes now, I want to replace with the second occurrence, not the first occurrence. Is it possible with the replace function? Anybody guess? No, it is not possible, right? Okay. So you may like, because instead of Python, I am giving something called wrong text, which is not really available there. So I will use the Java here, but there is no Java in this code. I want to replace with the Julia. Now you can see the output here. There is no any error. Even though this Java, which is not present in the substring, in the given string, we are not getting any issue. But why I'm talking about the replace, it is a mostly used function in our projects. So replace, we mostly use it. So that's the reason I'm investing time here to explain to you. So the Julia, so replace will take the first parameter is the given substring, and the second one is a replace string, and the last one is an optional, which is for the occurrences of the how many times you want to replace. You want to replace the whole the Python with the Julia, then we can do it. Okay, if you want to only for first two occurrences, we can give this option. Okay, I hope you understand. If not, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. You have any questions, guys?
What is the function to get the occurrence of that Python?
What is the function to get occurrences of Python? Means how many times this Python keyword which is
repeated.
Okay, good question. So I'm going to use now the print statement, and we'll go now using the string programming language dot. Can you see that? Is there any function here? Can we use it? There is a find function. We have it here. Can I use the find function? Is it going to tell the index or something? Let me go and figure out now. I'm going to use the find now. Okay, which is also frequently we use it. Now find of. First, before going to look into this, executing this code, I want to see the syntax of this. What is the syntax, guys? Here, find. There is a substring and starts with under. This is occurrences we can get now. Okay, because this find is always returns the integer value, right? Now I'm giving here passing the Python inside this. Okay, of course, in the lower cases only I'm giving now. If I'm going to execute this code, you can see Python is repeated. What is the value of 0? It is not like occurrences here. It is talking about the index value of the first occurrence of your Python keyword. This is the first occurrence only. right? For example, if I remove this Python here, the Python is somewhere it is starting here. Here index value is different. This index is 37. So the find is a method. It returns the index value. So index value of first occurrence of, okay, first occurrence of just okay, occurrence of the given value, right, of the given string. That's where it works. So that's how we can define, but still the question is different, right? The question is that I want to know how many times this Python is there in the given string. So is there any function for this? We are using the find. Find is not helping us.
Is it count?
Okay, exactly, you are right. The print of, because there is a three functions which is always confuse you, and we need to understand those functions are like, I'm just going to mention here, the find, count and index. These are the three functions which is little relative to each other, but little different. Okay, find, count and index. Let's invest our time on the count. It's very straightforward. And the count of which I'm going to use here, the Python which I'm passing the keyword. Let's look at the syntax here. Again, count is here it is expecting the string. Okay, now I'm going to execute this code. You can see this, the Python is repeated 3 times. But I don't want to, all the string should be consider. I want only particular position. For example, 1, 2, here I'm just giving this 1 comma. Okay. For example, I'm specifying here is the 45. I am going to execute, first of all, this is accepted or not. If I'm going to execute this 1 comma 45 I'm giving. So this is not considered. If I give the 0 comma 45, if I go and execute this, yes, 0 index to the 45 index, the Python is actually occurred only one time. If I give here instead of 45, can I give 65? So in this range, Python is appeared into the 2 times. If I'm going to give here 355 randomly, I'm giving the number, the Python is occurred into the 3 times. So how many times this Python is occurred in the given index also we can check. If you're not worried about the index, you want whole string to be considered, we can go for the direct itself.
Raja, one quick question.
Yeah.
Why it's not considered 1 since at the 0 place it has the Python, or it's a defaultly we need to give 0 as a starting position?
Here we have to give, if you are specifying it, you have to specify the range. Otherwise, you can leave it. By default, it will be considered as a 0 to length of the string.
Okay. So since you give the 1, it considered from the Y.
Yes.
That way it's not given in first.
Exactly. If I given the 1 means 0 is actually P is there. So it is considering the YTHON. This is a separate string it is understanding, but you are passing the Python. So that is omitted. So it's not considered for the output. Okay. So you can see this 2 times. Because I'm giving the 355 here. If I give the 0, it will be considered the first occurrence too. That's where this count function works. Now, I want to go and look at the indexing now. As we discussed it, right, the find returns the index, but there is always question comes in interview, especially people who are appearing for the less than 5 years of experience. Definitely this kind of questions you may get. What is the difference between the find and index? Let's try to understand what is the index here, because find is also returns the index. Am I correct? And here also we are getting now. So I'm going to keep these 2 things at the close to this, and we'll see the differences now. So index of, and I'm just passing here Python. Same thing I'm passing. Just look at these 2 examples. So these are the last 2 print statements which I'm printing now in the given output. We got the 0 and 0. Because first occurrence of the Python is 0 only, right? Fine. Then what is the difference of the find and index? Let me do it in this way. I'm going to give in the wrong value, Python X and Python X. There is no such substring in the given string. Now I'm trying to execute this code. You can see this find is written the -1 if there is no string is found. If there is no matched string, there is no matched substring. It is not returning any error. It's not throwing any error. But unfortunately, this index function is throwing an error. If there is no, this is an error. It is an error if there is no matched string found in the given string, right? That is only the difference, guys. But suggestible always to use the find method because somehow you can easily manage the error. But this is a little quite difficult when you are working under the big logics, because it is difficult to find the value because it is going to store the -1 into your database, right? So you don't want to store into the -1 value into your database, then you can go for the index function. That is the difference between the find is just like a search. It is search and gives the index value, and if the value is not found, and it will give the -1. But the index is always returns the error if the value which is not matched. Okay, makes sense? Is it clear? Any questions, guys? Please. Any questions?
But both we can handle, right? If I'm using find, if I won't find, if it is -1, try with the error block, like I can manage that one, and with the error definition manage index also, right? Both.
Yeah. But there, yeah, we can handle this indexing also, writing this one into the try block, and there is a exceptions concept is there. We can keep this one into the exceptions. We can handle it. But that anyway, today evening 4 o'clock, I'm going to discuss about the exceptions. Yes, we can handle the exceptions here. Okay, but only thing is that we have to look at the error here. We have to handle the error. It depends on you. Okay, how you are writing a code and the logic, what value you want to store into the application, right?
No other difference apart from that.
No other differences. These kind of things you will also find into the dictionary in some places also. That's how it works. Okay, so these are the functions, guys. We'll one day we'll invest more time onto the functions because those functions will take a lot of time. And for your information, data types concepts will take minimum to 7 to 10 hours. It's not that much easy to finish it in 2 hours, but I'm just going with the flow. But functions and all we'll talk later. Okay, and there are so many functions we have it here. For example, you can take here programming language dot, and there are these ease functions is always returns the true or false. But okay, just you think about this, is number, is alphabetical numbers. For example, let me take one real-time scenario. You have a phone number, you are taking a phone number from the user, so you can say that the phone number is equal to, and we can take this phone number into the sum, like in number side, generally we take in numbers, so we can take this 91 and 786 and 123, something like this, we can define it, right? So these are the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, I'm giving the less than 10 length. So phone number should not be less than 10 characters. Am I correct, guys? It should not be less than 10 characters. I want to validate this phone number from the user standpoint. So instead of this, okay, I'm going to introduce, there is a function name is called the input. So input is the function. We can ask user to enter the value dynamically. So let me invest some time here. So input is the function. So we can take here enter your phone number. Enter your phone number. Okay. So I'm going to take this value. I will say that this is a mobile number or phone number, whatever the variable which you want to make it up. Now I want to print these values. Before going to print this, I want to see the type of mobile number. So which type it is. Okay. Now I'll ask user to enter the phone number of phone number here. Let me go and execute this. First of all, we are getting an exception here because of this Python X. So I'm just to remove that. I'm executing the code now. Enter the phone number. I'm giving the 78901234. Right now, what we can do, right? I'm going to execute this code. You can see this is returning the string. So input function is always returns the string value. Right? But I want to convert this whole thing into the integer. I can use the int function. That is what I said in the starting of the session, right? So we have the int, float, complex numbers to conversion purpose. I want to convert the string into the integer. I can use the int function. I'm going to execute this code. You can see that. Anybody tell me? Because I have to enter the phone number here. For example, 987564321. I'm just entering here. This is an integer. Okay. This is an integer, but I want to check the validation of the phone number. How it is possible? With an integer, it's not possible. So what I will do, right? I will keep it as like a normal string. I don't consider it as an integer here. I will check the length here, right? So how to check the length? It's very simple. You can use if condition. and I will use the length function here, length of mobile number, and put the colon. This is the if validations. If length of mobile number is greater than or equal to 10 or equal to 10 only, we can say that. Can I say that equal to 10? Can I say when I'm going to validate this one, is it the right statement or not? If length of mobile number is equal to 10, then that is a valid phone number. So I'm going to give a message here. This is valid phone number. Okay, simple code I am writing it here. Okay, valid phone number. Else this is invalid phone number, right? We can write the print statement. So instead of print statement, we can also write logs also. That is okay. This is a invalid phone number. I'm going to execute this code. Let me give a phone number here is 12345. This is not equal to 10. I'm going to enter this is invalid phone number. Now this time what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to enter the phone number valid one 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. These are the 10 digits which I'm going to enter. This is a valid phone number. Okay, what is the deal here? Why we're talking about this? Yes, here I'm talking about mainly like real-time projects. We use the length function to get the length of the mobile number to validating purpose, right? The phone number should not be more than 10, not less than 10. It must be equal to the 10. So this is kind of things we use the conversion operators, the conversion functions like int and all.
Here, if I enter even string also, it will work, right? It's not going to be like if I entered ABCD also, it will consider until 10 digits, 10 characters. So it's not a proper validation.
Good question. Yeah, there is a lot of things to be taken care here. For example, if I use the ABCDE, this is not the phone number, but we have to do again converting this value. First, you need to check the length. After that, you can check the, or else first you can check the data type, whether it is a matching to that one, we can validate it. But generally, we don't use the input function in the real times. We use the different frameworks like Django or Flask to deal with this. This is just we use on the command prompt, right? This is not really considerable, but in the case if you use it, we have to take care with all the validations. Okay.
So something is number kind of any function.
That is what I'm coming to the point.
Okay.
If we have that situations, okay, that is the reason I'm taking this example. If you have that kind of things, okay, there is a, you can use this print of and mobile number, but point is this mobile number is not the string. I want to take it as a string. So instead of this logic, we understand the drawback, right? So it is not checking the user is entered the characters or not. So what I'm going to do, right? I will take this mobile number and dot, there is a function called isDigit or isDecimal, or like this is an existing function which is provided by the Python on the string. So isDigit, I will take this is the mobile number. Does it make sense now? So instead of this print statement, because if you print this will give the true or false. Because isDigit, isDecimal, these all functions will return the Boolean value either true or false. Now what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to use this if condition. Okay? If it is true, then you validate the length. Am I correct? If it is true, then you validate the length. So I'm just going to print now. This is a valid phone number. Valid phone, instead of saying valid phone number, this is the integer phone number. Integers we are using. Integer numbers are there. This contains integer numbers. Example, okay. I'm going to execute this code. Let's see now. I'm going to give the phone number here. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. These are all integers. But we got here isDigit takes no arguments when we are given. Can anybody tell me how to deal with this? This is I'm given the wrong isDigit, don't accept any parameters. By mistake I have given. Now I'm going to give this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Enter. We see this is an integer numbers. What if I'm going to enter ABCD? So this is like it's saying that nothing, because I'm not written the else statement here. That is the reason it is not taking up. If you want to write else statement here, Hey guys, small issue. So I am just back. Excuse me for that. Okay. I'm able to, can you hear? Yeah, power cut. Yes, you are right. So, but don't worry guys, even if it is a power cut, it will take a few minutes to resume the connection, but bear with me. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about, see, this is an integer number, right? We are able to see it whether we are using the isDigit function and all. So this is helping us a lot, these functions, okay? Just consider this. This is really useful to you. IsDigit function, is alphanumeric functions, we can use it, okay? Fine, moving to the, because we don't need to spend too much time on this string operations, because I have the separate sessions for the string operations, list operations, and all operations we can take it separately. We don't need to mix up the things here in the plan, right? So moving to the very important concept called the list data type. This is called the sequence, right? What is a list data type? Anybody tell me? Why we need to use list data type? Please, let's make it as an interactive session. Anything, any answer is fine. Okay. Fine. For example, I have a data. For example, you take your friends are there, okay, and your friends, maybe some names are repeatedly there, right? For example, Raja name is there. 4 5 members have the same name, Raja, right? So in same place or in same class or something like this. But in that case, how we can deal with this? So Python is introduced that there is a new data type is called the list. It stores the all the duplicate values. If I want my data to be duplicated, I can use the list. So list is always represented by using the square bracket here. So we can use now, for example, names is equal to, we can write here, for example, Raja. I'm writing here. Then after that, we can write here the Gautam. So some names we can define it here, okay? And some names like take the Priya, and some names we are writing it. If you want to repeat the same names, we can repeat it here. So list can store the duplicate values. Point number one. Okay. If I want my data to be duplicated, I can use. Now I'm going to use this, the print of this names. I'll get the same duplicated data without any file, without any fail. So I'm going to execute this code. Now you can see this, guys. I got the output is Raja, Gautam, Priya, and Raja, right? So data can be duplicated. And next important thing is list can store the heterogeneous data. What is mean by heterogeneous? It can store the integer values. It can store the Boolean values. It can store, I mean, at a time you can store the different data types basically, right? The 45 is an integer, true is a Boolean value. So, and the last one is, I can say that something like a list inside the list also we can say A and comma B, something like this. So all this is possible here, right? And also we can write a tuple, but I'm not going that. Am I audible, right, guys?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, sorry for that. So print of names, the names is equal to this data we got. Now we can see this contains both integers and all the type of data. So what we can give the definition of the list. List can store the duplicate values. List can have the similar data type or multiple data types. And list can also maintain the indexing. So what is the indexing concept? Same story. Already explained about string indexing, right? Same thing is applicable for the list also. One-time investment of study, right? So you already invested time for understanding the indexing at the string. Same thing is applicable for the list also. Ditto, there is no change. So indexing here also starts from the 0, okay? And also it is ends with n minus 1, that is the length of the string. And that's how it works. And also we can follow the negative indexing. So this is also like starts with the minus n, that is nothing but length of the string. And also we use the minus 1. So this is how we can define it in the negative direction. So I want to retrieve the specific value. For example, print the names of 0. If I go and execute this, Raja is printed. Now I want to print, for example, index number 3 here. If I'm going to execute this, this is working, right? So we got Raja again here. Okay, I want to print names of 3. I'm going to execute this, sorry. 3, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3. Yes, Raja is there. Now I'm going to change this one to the 4. Now output will change it now. This time is 45 is coming up. Am I correct? Say yes or no. Hello?
Yes, Raja.
Yeah, yes. Thanks. I just felt like I didn't power off. Okay. Now the names are there. So I want to print slicing here. Slicing is also same thing. Names of, I want to print like first to second, these two names, Gautam and Priya. I want to print. How to print this one? So Gautam and Priya, I want to print. Here, one is the first indexing and the slice, and the Priya is there at the second position, right? Second index. If I go and print, did you going to get the output Gautam and Priya? No, right? Because only Gautam will get. You have to give the 3, then this is called n minus 1. Now I'm going to execute this code. I'll get the Gautam and Priya. I said this 3 is nothing but stop index. Stop means it will stop. 3 will not be considered. So if you want Gautam and Priya to be printed in the output, you have to give this value is 3. Right? If I want Gautam, Priya and Raja, then I have to give the 1:4. Then we got the Gautam, Priya and Raja. We got the data. As simple as. Right? Same concept of the string. Nothing is the big deal here. The deal, I will tell you, it stores the different heterogeneous data types, and also it has the duplication of the data. Right? Okay. So can I add the two lists? Okay. For example, you take this one. There is a even numbers. Can I take the even numbers here? Even numbers is equal to 1 comma 2 comma even numbers, right? Sorry, 2 comma 4 comma 6 comma 8. These are the even numbers. I will take the odd numbers. So what I'm going to do, right? These numbers I've taken into the list. I will add them into that. I will group them basically. Odd numbers is equal to, basically I'm concatenating the two lists here. So 1 comma 3 comma 5 comma 7 comma 9. It is below 10. I'm consider. I want to add these both the list. So even numbers even numbers plus and odd numbers. Now I'm executing this code, guys. Let's see this, how it works. You can see both values are, we got into the new list. Now there is some functions here. If you do the minus operator, it won't work. You get same exception, right? You have to give the plus. And can I multiply the whole list with the some number? So for example, this even numbers, I want to multiply with the 3. So star 3, which I'm giving now. So 3 times of even numbers, we can see here 3 times of even numbers we are able to see. Same thing which we discussed in the string. Same thing we are doing it, but it is a group of data. Okay, not just one characters. So not with one string, we are a group of things we are dealing with. Now what I want to do, right? I want to use the, like here, different operator like divided. This is won't work basically. If you use this, we'll get an A, it is not supporting it. Same like star 3, fine. So what we can do now, there is some functions which are very important with respect to the list. For example, I want to add a new element to the, list. I can use the insert function. The insert function basically will take the position of the index and the object. For example, here Raja, Gautam, Priya, again Raja is there, right? I want to add here, there is a name called Sachin. So for example, I have to give the position. If I use the only Sachin here, do you think is going to be added? So I'm going to add this one. I'm going to execute this. You can see you have to give the two arguments. What I will do, right? I will give the last argument here. So for example, if I can also give the existing index here. For example, fifth position, fifth index, I want to add Sachin. So I'm going to execute this code. I want to print this. So since I'm not printed, you are not seeing output. I'm going to use this print of even numbers. I've given in even numbers. Huh? Let me give the names here rather than even numbers. Right? Any list is okay. I'm executing now. You can see Raja, Gautam, Priya, Raja 45, and Sachin is got inserted at the fifth index. If you want last index, if you want eighth index, you can give. But what if I'm giving the incorrect index? For example, 18, if I'm giving this index which is not found in the given data, right? I'm giving now 18. Can anybody tell me how this works? Okay, so even though you are giving the incorrect, that is the maximum value can be considered for this. What is the maximum value of this? The names is length of the string. So at the end, this value will be added. You don't get an error. Generally, people think you'll get an error here, but insert can allow the any index value. For example, what if I'm giving this value? If I'm going to execute this code, you can see it will add at the last only. Okay, so this is like adding a particular element in the given list in the position, which position you want to add it. Now I want to add in different way. So for example, names dot, what are the other functions we have it here? So insert we have seen now. What are the other functions we have it? So there is something called append. So append is the function which is by default will add at the end of the given list. For example, this time I want to add Dravid. Can it be possible, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to print these names. The where it will be added either the last or like middle of the string. So middle of the list, it will add at the last. So append is the last position. By default, it will add the new element or given element at the last. But insert is the based on the index. Append is the by default it add at the last. Just remember here, you can look at the syntax of this. But interesting note here, this append takes only one parameter, that is the object, which object you want to add. It's not only about the string, you can also use the 7 here. And if I'm going to execute this code, 7 will be added at the last. See, it allows the any data type here. You can use the Boolean value, string, integer, and all these things. So what else is there? So I have the names, and you can see that is there any other function we have it? There is something called extend here. So this extend function will take, for example, if I give only 6, it won't be considered. Extend is the function, it will accept the iterable objects. Iterable in the sense either you can give the string or list or tuple or something like that. It's a group of values we need to provide here in extend function. So for example, if you give only string, for example, here I am giving some name called Dravid. Okay, I'm just giving this Dravid. If I'm going to execute this code, this Dravid, each character is split into the different positions. You can see here, you'll understand now. So D is one character, R is another character, because this is a string which is a combination of group of character. Each character stores at the different index level. That is the reason each index level is considered as a separate string, which is got appended at the end, which is we are extending the string, extending the, what I can say that list. But instead of using this way, I can use the list inside this. I want to add a group of names to this existing names. You can see this is the names is a given list. I want to add a group of values. For example, Dravid here is one. Again, I can say that Gangoli. I'm going to add some names here. Okay, I'm going to add some names. If I'm going to execute this code, I can see the output is Dravid and Gangoli is added. So basically this extend function will take the input is the sequence of the data. Either a string is the sequence, tuple, set, range. This set is not actually a sequence, 100% sequence, because that will be a different case, but it is a second type of the sequence we can consider. So now we can see the output right here. So insert, append, extend, these are all like extension of your, maybe you see, you have some data in your list, but on top of it, if you want to add it, we can do. But insert can add only one element. Append also can add only one element, but extend can be used for the multiple elements. See, in your data, you have more than, assume that there is a student's names here. All the students are there, 100 students, but you missed out the 30 students. You can create a separate list. Those 30 students, we can give it to this extend function. It will add directly to the existing list. Okay, that's where extend. Insert is for position, index, append is for the direct element at the end of the list, and extend is like taking the group of list values. Any questions here? So moving to the next important, these are all like insertion operations on the list. So there is something called delete operations also there in the list, because it is a data type, you know. Someone says this is a data structure. List is also a predefined primitive data structure in Python. That's the reason we have the insertion operations and also delete operations. Delete operations are like remove, and what else is there? Names of names dot, and there is some, okay. So we have the pop function, and let me tell you, these are the delete operations. There is something called clear. Clear means you are deleting the entire data in the given date, in the given string. So you can say that delete everything here. You are making this list is empty. Okay. The pop means you can look at the syntax of the pop. It will delete based on the index. So how this insert function is inserting the based on the index. Similarly, if you want to delete the value based on the index, we can give. For example, I want to delete the index value at the 5th position. You can specify it. And the remove is something like if you want to delete direct object, it is quietly opposite to the append. Append, you are directly appending the value at the end of the list. In similar fashion, you can pass the value here. I want to delete a 7. So first, let's see this first one, names dot remove. After that, I want to print names. Let me see that 7 is removed or not. I'm going to execute this code. You can see in the output, there is no 7, but in the previous output, you can see the 7 before Sachin, in between Sachin and Dravid. Fine, right? So I'm able to delete the direct object by using the remove. Now I'm going to use the next functionality called the pop function. The pop is something like, you can see, it takes the indexing. This time the indexing I'm giving, you know, this is an indexing now. I want to delete something like list index 5. So I want to print after the, what is the value of this? You can use the print of names. So yeah, I'm going to execute this code. You can see the output here. What is deleted? The 5th position, whatever it is there, it is deleted. What is the 5th position? Is this one, not this one, guys. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this true is there. This true is at the 5th index. This is got deleted. So this is the index level. Okay, I'm little mad. I'm giving now 50, or like I'm going to give like 55 or 155. This index is which is not present in the code. I'm trying to execute this. Will get the index out of range exception. Okay, fine. This you understand. What if I'm giving the wrong value in the remove method? This, for example, I'm giving the 70. There is no 17 in the given data. We'll say that X is not in the list. It is a mostly used, mostly seeing error in the real-time projects. Most of these times we see that X is not in the list. Yes, of course, you will get an exception if you're giving the wrong value, trying to remove from the given list. So both the functions will return the errors, exceptions, when there is no data found. Both are doing the same thing. Now moving to the last one is the names dot all. So this is like removing the clear. Clear means it deletes the all objects. I want to print names after clearing the data. So you can use this print of names. Now I'm executing this data. Now you can see this is an empty. But for your information, still list is there in the memory. So names is the data which is there in the memory. Still, if you want to delete from the memory, then you can use the del command. Del names, this if you use, and after that, if you are trying to access the names, and we can see that the names which is not available in the data. Can I use this, guys? I'm going to execute this code saying that names is not defined because you deleted the object directly. If I'm not using the del names here, if I'm going to print names, you can see the output is an empty. That means list still exists. So clear means it deleting only the items, not the list. But if you want to delete the entire list, you can use the del command. So these are the insertion operations on the list. These are the deletion operations on the list. And this is the completely deleting the list. I'm just keeping on to the comment section. So what else we can do now? There is a very common thing is called the index. Okay. So for example, if I take the names, so in the names dot, there is something called index, and the names, there is something called, there is something else is there, the count. These are the common things, functions which we already seen on the string. If I want to get the index value, we can use names count, because how many times is Raja is appeared in the given list. You don't need to write extra code. We can use the count function to calculate that value. For example, print of names dot count. In the count function, can I pass the value here? So what is the value Raja? Raja is there in the 2 times. I want to see the output is 2 here. In the that is where we are defining it. Now I'm going to execute this code. You can see this is printing the 0. Anybody tell me? It is not giving the Raja is actually first occurrence is the 0. It is giving the return. You can look at this. Index is return the number of occurrences of value. Can anybody tell me what is how output is got the 0? Tell me, I expected the Raja value is 2, but I got the 0. Anybody guess? It's because I deleted the data here. There is no data, right? So if I'm not going to use this clear function here, comment, if I'm going to execute this code, you can see Raja is there 2 times. Because you cleared the data, that means no data. After that, you are trying to count it. Of course, on latest data, there is no Raja. That's the reason we got the value is 0. Now we got the 2, right? So what if I'm passing here Raja X? This is not valid one. I'm going to execute this code. You'll see the 0. That you should remember, right? There is also something called indexing here. Okay, so indexing, if I'm going to give the names dot index of Raja X here, we'll get an exception here since it is not in the list. Now, if I'm going to use this, a correct input value, Raja is the first occurred into the 0th index. That is the reason. Instead of Raja here, I'm going to leave it as removing the R there. I'm going to execute this code. You can see this, there is a 3 because Raja is appeared into the 0, 1, 2, Priya is in the 2nd position, Raja is again there in the 3rd position index. So that is the reason we got the 3 here. So basically this index will tell us like where the value is started, occurrences, first occurrences only the index will be considered here. I hope you understand the count function and index function. These functions are almost similar to the strings, but only thing is that the names here, this list is contains the different data types. That's where it is there. So this is mostly list can be used as a dynamic data in the real-time projects. So every time when you're doing the transactions, you want to add the data, you want to delete the data, you want to update the data or something like this, you can go for the list. No, I don't want to do I don't want to add, I don't want to remove it. So which is the best way to go for it? If something is a static data, then Python is giving a concept is called this tuple, right? So the list is for the dynamic operations when you want to do it in the Python programming or the projects. And the tuple is something which we can use it for the static data, which is always constant, can't be removed. Let me go and write now tuple. This is a very interesting concept. Most of the people don't know some of the facts about tuple here. So now let me go and tell you a few facts here. For example, how to define a tuple in Python? It's very simple. We have to use a parenthesis. This is a parenthesis only, right? So I'm going to give this x is equal to this. I want to print this. What is this type here? The print type function we always use to see the what is the data type of the given variable. And I'm going to execute this code. We got the tuple. Interesting. Now, can you please tell me what is the value of this? I'm going to give 1. Anybody tell me what is the value of this? Second
Int.
one. Int. Of course, that is a fact. It is an int. I'm going to give the comma. Can you please tell me what is the data type of this? This is one of the
Tuple.
interview question. Exactly. When I'm going to give this one is a tuple. So basically tuple is something little special in this Python. You don't need to specify the parentheses always. But when you have the sequence of the data by using the separate by the comma, this is considered as a tuple. See, you can use the parentheses without parentheses, and but only thing is need comma. Comma is changing the life here, right? It's just you are adding the comma. So whether you can take the integer or like you can give the name like something XYZ name, this is also tuple. Okay, this is the thing which you should remember. Now, coming to the point, most of the times we see some error called x is equal to, okay, instead of x, I will take a is equal to, I'm just mentioning some numbers here, 1, 2, 3. I want to add this a with the b is equal to 9. This is the error I'm seeing it most of the times in the, when I'm running the NumPy code or pandas code, and I'm dealing with any data analysis or any machine learning projects, we see these errors. So most of the times we add the data with and integer value here. So for example, a plus b. Is it possible? A type is a tuple, B type is an integer, but most of the times we see there is an error, popular error, this one. Can only concatenate the tuple with the tuple. So this is error, mostly we see it when I'm working on the Django projects or Python projects and all, right? So tuple cannot be used at this one. This is not possible, okay? Just keep in your mind. Coming to the point here, so tuple can store the duplicate values. Tuple x is equal to, I'm just giving the duplicate name, tuple x. Okay, so here important point here, tuple can store the duplicate values. It is possible. 1, 1 is possible. It can store the heterogeneous data. Yes, that is possible. 4.5, and we can say that Raja. This is possible, and also we can give the Boolean values. This is possible, right? True, it's possible. If I want to print this, this is possible. Okay. But what is not possible, I will tell you now. If I'm going to execute this, you can see I got the output. It is same as like a list. I don't see any difference as such. Only except, sorry, I'm giving, why you guys are calm there? I'm giving the square bracket, sorry for that. Okay, this is a tuple, right? Previous one is the list basically. This is a tuple, right? I want to do something here. I want to change the, I want to add some data to this given tuple. Is it possible? It is not possible. The reason I will tell you. So you can take this tuple x dot. You can see there is only 2 functions are there on the tuple. Only 2 functions, index and count. There is no add, there is no remove, there is no any other operations on the tuple because tuple is immutable object. Tuple is used for the static data representation in the projects. Static data in the sense the data which is very constant. Example, India states. India states, we can't change it right frequently. Most of the times for years, 29 states only. Or you can take it the country names. Most of the times we generally change the country names. Country names is also static, right? Those data we can keep it into the tuple, most of the case. For example, bank co-founder, bank founder, or bank headquarters. These are the data which is always constant. We don't change it. So those data will keep it into the tuple. The data which is daily we do the transactions like customer adding the amount or withdraw the money or deposit the money. This is the transaction data. That where we can go for the list, real-time way, right? So now here I can use the index function. I can get the data. This is the same thing, right? So index of right now, for example, I want to give the value is 4. Okay. Now I'm going to execute this. Did you get any output of this, guys? It is similar to the what we have spoken in the earlier. Now I'm going to execute this code. You can see this 4 which is not in the given data. If I give the 4.5, it's fine. This element is found in the given, and we can get this index value is 2. It's a similar case for the count also. You can also give the count. Same thing. There is no much explanation about the index and count because we already seen in the list and string. But so one more point here. The only difference between the list and tuple, not only the functions, the main important point you should tell to the interviewer or someone ask you, it is immutable. List is mutable, means the values can be changeable, and the tuple is immutable. Okay, so what is this? Can you prove, Raja? Yes, definitely I will prove with small example. We'll get now idea. Okay, so let me take small example. We'll prove now what is the mutability, what is the immutability. So what is the list and the tuple differences, main differences. Let me take very easiest example. Okay, so we can take some countries. I will take some countries here. So for example, countries. So, but yeah, in this countries, I will add some countries. For example, Poland, and the next one is the UK. Next one is Italy, and next one is India, and last one is the Singapore. Just added some countries here, and later I want to add one more country in this. So what I can do, right? I can change it, right? For example, if we use the countries of and I can give the index position. What is the index position? For example, you take any index position here, 3. So I'm going to add new country to this list. So I'm going to add something called South Africa, right? So I'm going to add this South Africa to this given list. I want to print these countries, the print of countries. Can you please tell me how it works? It is working, right? So I'm able to add the data. Fine. Same data, I will take it into the tuple. I will tell you now. This is, I will change it to the tuple instead of the list. Okay. Same thing. Everything is fine. There is nothing is changed. Only parenthesis I have changed it. Now, if I'm going to execute this, you can see this. Tuple object does not support item assignment. This is called, you cannot change the given value. Once you assign the values to the tuple, you cannot do it. But there is another way you can do it is this whole thing you can take it as create new object and add South Africa to this at the end of the list, wherever you want it to be. That time it will be considered. This line number 24 is always incorrect. We should not do. So we cannot assign the values to this. You can now, this is the way it works. So just remember guys, tuple item assignment, which is not possible in the given tuple. So that is where we can say that the value cannot be modified. The object cannot be modified. When object is not modified, that nature is called the immutability. The value can be changeable, that is called the mutability. So list is mutable and tuple is not, tuple is immutable. Okay, even for the string also, for example, I am taking now name is equal to, by mistake I've given my name is here Raj, but that is incorrect. I have to define my name is Raja, right? So if you may think like name, so 0 indexing is R is 0, yeah, and first index is A and 2 is J. And in 3 position, I want to add A. Generally, if I add this one, you think like Raja can be formed. No. If I'm going to execute this code, this name will throw an error because item assignment is not possible in the string also. See, item assignment is not possible. Object does not support item assignment. So strings also immutable. Am I correct? String is immutable. Integers, numbers, that is like integer, float, all are immutables. Okay, most of the data here. List is mutable. This can be changed at any time whenever you want. This item assignment is not possible. We can't change the given data. Name, once you define the Raja, it is Raj only. If you want to change it, you can override with the new string. But there are some cases we can prove it in different way, but we can see it later. Okay, that is advanced programming. So I don't want to get into that. Okay, so this is how like we can come to the conclusion, mutability, immutability, the value can be changed. Now I have a requirement in my code. I don't want to be duplicate my data. So now you can see, for example, in the previous data, the one which is duplicated in the tuple, even in the list also data which is duplicated. If I don't want duplicate data, then Python is introduced the new data type name is called the set. Set is mainly used for non-duplicated data. Set underscore x and .py I am writing it here. But here also some interesting facts are there. For example, set is represented by using the curl braces, right? For example, I'm saying that x is equal to this curl brace I want to print this X, type of X. Can anybody guess what is the type of X here? I said this is a set, but I'm just giving the empty set, but I'm trying to print this type of X. Python returns always it is a dictionary, right? You can see the output is the dictionary, wondering. But if I'm giving the small one value here, any value like 1, 2, or like any value you can give, but interesting note is Python returns, okay? Sorry, I've written in the comment section, not in the fourth line number 4. Now you can return this is giving the set. So that's how it is. You have to remember curl braces. I can use it for both dictionary and set. Okay, when I say that 1:3, if I'm going to execute this, then entire this data type will be changed to the dictionary. Okay, when I use only single variable or single object here inside the given set, then this you can see this one is a set. So just always remember, guys, that in this curl braces, if you give only the value, then it will be considered as a set. The value is also only one object, not the colon, right? Fine. Coming to the point here, I'm going to give the duplicate values here. Like for example, 1, 1, and 3, 3, and 4, okay, and 5. So I want to print of X. Now, can you please tell me if I go and execute this, what is the output is 1, 3, 4, 5, right? Because the data cannot be duplicated in the set. Set's main intention is to not to maintain the insertion order, not to store the duplicate values, because internally it uses the hash table data structure, right? So, and one more important point, it won't maintain the insertion order. You may think like the values, how you are inserting here 1, 3, 4, 5. No, there is no indexing concept here. No indexing concept. Tuple follows the indexing concept, list follows, string follows. When it comes to the set does not follows the indexing. Set can store the duplicate values. Set cannot store the duplicate values. Set can store the different data types. I can also use here different data types called the true. Or you can say something called example Raja. Can I use this? If I'm going to execute this code, you can see the output here. But one point you note it down here, it's one of the tricky thing. I given the true, but I'm not getting the value in the list. True is not duplicated, but you can see true is duplicated means how it is working. Anybody guess here? It is considered as the 1. Now I'm going to give the false here. The false is also Boolean value keyword. I'm going to execute this code. You can see this false is showing up, but unfortunately I'm not seeing the true. Anybody guess what is the deal here? Why this is happening?
True is considered as 1, and false, since it doesn't have the value, it's appearing as 0. If you keep 0, it won't appear.
Interesting. I'm going to give this. Done, right? As you said, it's correct. So mainly set is used for the mathematical operations. Set operations, we have the union operators, we have the intersection, the two sets, union, differences, symmetric differences. There are a lot of operations we have it on the set, right? Coming to the point here, okay, so people may wonder why this false is giving the true and true is 1. Okay, this is the most of the times I ask the people, because this is also one of the interview questions which we can consider here. For example, okay, I say that X is equal to true. Same question I ask many people many times, but this time also I'm asking this group, if you know it, answer. X is equal to true, Y is equal to false, okay? Can anybody tell me what is the output of this print X plus Y? Anybody guess? 1. So what if I'm going to give the X plus again this? What is the output this? 2. So you just understand, guys, the people who don't know here, true is always, when you do the mathematical operations, the true will be converted into the integer, that is a 1. The false will be converted into the 0. Okay, now if I'm going to execute this 1 plus 0 plus 1, that is a 2. But interesting note you should remember here. For example, I have a string s is equal to, you can mention some string like xyz. Can I convert this one into the Boolean value? Yes, it is possible. There is a function name is called bool. I can use the bool of x. I'm passing the string to this. Okay, I want to print this value. Can anybody tell me what would be the expected output of this? The bool of X. Now I'm going to execute this code. You can see here, I got the true. But when I can get the false, can I give the empty string here? Now I'm going to execute this code. When I give the empty string, still I get this true. So when I can get the false, can I give the 0 here? If I go and execute this code, still true. This means string present at least one character that is considered as a true. But when I can get the converting the string into the boolean and I can get the false. Anybody guess, think?
Boolean, this it should be S, right, instead of X.
Okay, that's my bad. Still true. Like I'm giving the now empty. Can you please guess what is the output? Please. Okay, I'm going to execute this code. Previously I given the wrong. So when there is an empty, if we give the space also, the space will be considered as a character. It is written as true. And when you are not giving that value, it will be considered as, you can see it is an empty string. So empty string, when you are converting, it is always false. When you have space or like some value, that will be considered as a true. It will be converted, right? So even you can use it for the integer values. You can take 34 and you want to convert this one 34. 34 is the value. Other than 0, this value will be considered. Okay, only 0, if you go and enter here, it is a false. And even if you use minus 34 also, if you convert this one, will be considered as a true. Because other than 0, any value is a true. Okay, so just remember, this is only when you are trying to convert the values, guys. Conversion, data type conversion is always important. Okay, so that's the reason. We can also convert the list into the tuple, tuple into the list, right? Okay, coming to the point here is the set. So these are the set operations, right? What are the set operations we have it? For example, let me take very simple set. I will take the two sets here. Okay, so one set is the prime numbers. What are the prime numbers from the 1 to 10? So 1 comma 1 is the prime number, no, right? 2, 3, 5, 7 is the prime numbers. So I want to take odd numbers this time. Instead of odd numbers, I will take even numbers because otherwise the data will be same. Odd numbers, even numbers, right? Even numbers. This time I'll take the 2, 4, 6, 8, and last one is 8. I'm going to execute this code. Can anybody tell me? Nothing will come because I'm not done any operations here. So for example, if you take these prime numbers, okay, prime numbers dot, you can see there are so many functions are there on the list. So you can do this so many things. These functions are mostly related to the people who knows the mathematics. When you studied in your college days, school days about the set operations, you know very well about this. For example, union operator. Okay, we have the operators and all. This is again big subject now. Okay, two sets. For example, set union of prime numbers of this one. You can pass the even numbers, right? Even numbers. So what is the expected output in this case? What is the union one here? I'm using the print statement now. The print of prime numbers dot union of even numbers. If I'm going to execute this, you see this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is union. Am I get? Is it correct or not? This is wrong, right? So when you're applying the set operations, don't try to print directly. First you apply this operation, again, then you can go and use this print operations. Now I'm going to use the prime numbers. Let me see this. What is the output of this? Do you see any changes here? I'm going to print the same thing like print of even numbers. Do you see any differences here when you deal with the operators here? And also you can see the one which I'm telling you at the beginning itself, set will not maintain the insertion order. This is the point you always remember because it is internally uses the hash table. So it won't maintain the indexing. It is never follows the index. You can see I entered the 2468, but I got the output is 8246. It can change anytime from the memory location. Okay. This is the best example I can show you at this moment. It won't maintain the insertion. Coming to the point here, when we have the prime numbers dot union operator, union function, and I am trying to print data which is the same only. Now, if I'm going to print this data, what is a union means? Union means it will add, right? Both, you can see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What if I take the intersection here, the print of, instead of union, I will take, these are the very famous functions, right? You can go to this intersection is 2 only because the common value is 2 only in between these two sets. For example, if I give 3, just for example, I'm going to execute this code. You can see just 2, 3 also. Am I correct? So we can give this data basically. This is how it works. I'm going to execute this code. You can see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 also it works. Okay. So there are so many things are there. For example, intersection update is there. This is a little tricky and we can use this intersection update. So for this, if I'm going to execute, we will get the none because update means it is trying to update the data. That time we don't need to print this state data. So there is an update here. This update will be considered for the action. There is some update is happening. That time if you are trying to print, it won't give any data. After that, we can use the print statement, print of prime numbers. Can anybody tell me what is happening with this intersection update? Print of prime numbers. So it is a little, once you understand one update function, then it is a similar to the difference of update and also same. So I'm using even numbers now. Just use this. I'm going to execute this code. You can see the output here, right? So when you use the first prime number, you are using it. The result will be, your result is what? This update function result is, the intersection data is 2. This 2 which is added to the prime numbers because you use the prime numbers. But instead of prime numbers, I will use the even numbers here and the prime numbers is in this place. The first time I'm using even numbers dot intersection update of prime numbers. So the intersection 2 which is going to add it to the even number, then the output will change and now. Got it right? So because it is very simple guys. The whatever the intersection data you are updating with even numbers. If I use the prime numbers here, whatever the intersection data you are updating with the prime numbers. So whichever the call you do the first, that data will get updated by the intersection value. Any questions on this? Intersection update. Intersection is nothing but a common value. It will print. And intersection update means the common value will be updated with the value which you are calling here, even numbers. If I use the prime numbers, it will be updated with the prime numbers. Any questions? No?
That intersection update, can you just once again?
So, okay, you can take here, okay, what is the intersection value in this case? It is a 2. What is the values which is very common here? Is a 2. So this 2, which is actually adding to the even numbers because you are calling the even numbers dot intersection update. So this common value will be given to the even numbers. But when I do the same thing, okay, instead of even numbers, I will use this time is the prime numbers. And this time, this prime numbers, I will change it to the odd numbers. Sorry, it is even numbers. You can give the even numbers. What will happen, right? This common value will not be appended to this even numbers because you are calling first prime numbers, which will update to this prime numbers. Did you got it? This time it is for the change in now. You can see first I am printing this. This is got prime numbers now. So intersection value we are updating to the first call. First call is actually prime numbers. So basically this set you are updating, set A and set B. Still not get any confusion, guys. Let me take the here set A and 1 comma and I'm just taking as 44 comma 56 comma and 22, and you can go to the here another set B. So this set B I will take 4 comma and 5 comma and 56. I'm intentionally taking here 11. So what is the common value here is 56. So if I can go to the print statement and the set A dot intersection of set B, what is the output of this?
56.
56, which is a common value. But I want to update this 56 with the whole this set A. I don't want this data. I want to update the intersection value with the set A. That time we can go for the set A dot intersection update, and we can use the set B. Okay. Now what will happen, right? Whatever the intersection value 56 will be overridden with the set A. So if you want to see that output, you have to print the data, print set A, and now set A and again set B. You can see here. So what I want, set A must be overridden with the intersection data. Let's go and see now. So 56 is got updated with, now you can see set A, which is printing the 56. Now I don't want with the set A, I want to update with the set B. You can give set B first, then you can change it to the set A. Now you can see this, the intersection data is got updated with the set B. I hope you understand at this moment, right? Any questions?
Why Raja, set A value is order is changing? Any specific reason?
That is what I said. Set nature is like that. Set does
Okay.
not maintain the insertion order. Set is always follows the it is a hash table.
Correct,
Depends on the memory location. It will be
Yeah.
An important thing here. Okay, there is an assignment, guys. Okay, I want to get this 56 value to be printed on the output. Is it possible? This is a set. I want to print a particular element. Is it possible? In list, we use the index. In the tuple, we use the index. But unfortunately, there is no index in the set. But how you do it with the set? This is an assignment to you. Okay. How to get a particular value from the set. And first, more important thing is set does not maintain the insertion order. So can anybody try this small exercise? And very important too. I want to retrieve a particular element from the set. So this is an exercise for you. You try that. And now moving to the very important, there is a difference is also there. For example, you can use a set A and a difference of set B. And what is the difference here? I'm just going to put this code in the comment section because the data will get updated. Now I'm using the set A and set B. I want to print this. Anybody tell me what is the expected output here? What would be the expected output? See, this is the difference, right? 44, 144, and you can see there's 22. Because this is differences between the set A and set B. Set A is there actually. You can see this. This is all the data which is coming. For example, if I give the set B and this is a set A, can anybody tell me what is the output here?
4, 5, 11.
Because 4, 5, because 5,
11.
Exactly, you are right. I'm going to execute this code. You can see this 4, 5, 11. Of course, it does not maintain the order, so 11, 4, 5, whatever it is. Okay, fine. That's where we got it now. But this is not I am expected, right? So if what is the main thing we need? Let me go now. I will show you something like symmetric differences. Difference and symmetric difference, right? Now I'm going to execute this code. You can see something came now. This is what you want. If you want exact differences between the two sets, you have to use the symmetric difference. If you use only difference means whichever the set which you are asking, that difference only will be shown at the first. Symmetric difference means it is a mirror, like both the sets you are taking and finding the differences. So that is a difference between the difference and symmetric difference here. So anybody have any doubt on these two functions? Symmetric difference means it is applicable to both the sets.
So you mean like a universal set? So it is like you are subtracting that from the universal set?
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
So we have the two sets here, and we are removing the common point and the remaining data which we are considering. What is the common point here is the 56. You can see in this in my result, I don't see the 56, which is very common an intersection point. So symmetric difference works like that.
Right.
Right. So difference means set B dot difference I want to know that set T dot, because only this set B, here we have the difference is 4, 5, 11, 56, which is very common. Now, coming to the point, okay, these are all like mathematical operations, okay. So now we can see there is an update here. You can see, okay, okay, underscore update. Even symmetric difference is also update. Now you can understand what is the update, but when you are doing the update, don't print directly, because you are directly doing the update function. If you do it, you get an exception. You get an exception. I'm going to execute this code. Of course, you don't see any output at this moment. You have to print and see. So if you understand the update function here with respect to the intersection, and it is almost the same for the difference and the symmetric difference, because you are updating the whatever the difference is there with the set B. Let me go and print this. First of all, print of set B. Anybody is confused here? It's mathematics, guys, nothing to deal with the programming here. Okay, it's a maths. Okay, so now I want to go and print here, execute this code. See set B. Set B. This is the difference. This is the difference which is got updated with the set B, because I called the set B first. So that is the reason you are seeing it here. And the set A, okay, that set A, whatever it is there, that is, you can see this 56, and the same is as it is there. It is the same case for the symmetric difference update. Okay, so symmetric difference update. Okay, I hope you guys are not confused. Now you can see this set B, symmetric difference update means whole data, which is we have it here, right? The whole thing which is got appended here, 1, 4, 5, 11, 44, 22, 56. This is the whole thing is which is there, which is we got it now, right? So any questions? So update means it will get updated with the given data, guys. These are all like set operations. But more point here, you don't need to write always these functions, but we can also write like this. Okay, the print of we can use this set A, and there is a pipe symbol and the set B. So this one you can just go and study. There are some operators for the each operations. You can see this is also called as union operator for the two sets. Okay, if you want to operate, you can use the function, and also we can use the pipe symbol, can be operated this. Okay, coming to the point here, set, say set is the for that purpose. Can I change the value of the given set data? It is possible. Set is by default, it is mutable. Set is mutable, but I want to make it as a immutable. How it is possible, guys? We have something is called the frozenset. Example, okay, you take for example x is equal to, you can write here 1, 2, 3, and you can take the duplicate also if you want. And this x I want to give it to the frozenset. The frozenset is the existing function, which is a predefined function. I'll pass the x to this. Now I want to go and use it this print of frozenset x. So you can see this data I'm going to execute in this, right? So let me go and do something here. When I say x dot, you see there is so many functions are there here. Okay, but when I go to the when I go and store this data into the frozenset, you will see there are some few functions will be removed. Okay, so I'm going to give this y is equal to, and okay, y dot. You can see there is only few functions are there. Update functions are not there. Symmetric difference update, intersection update, difference update. Update functions won't be there on the frozenset. Update means what? You are updating the set. When you are updating the set means what? It is a mutability. Okay, frozenset will maintain the immutability. You are freezing the set, and it won't provide the functions called symmetric difference update and the intersection update. These update functions are not there. Hope you got it now. So frozenset is immutable, set is mutable. Any questions? Is it session, guys?
Sorry.
Is it session is getting bored? Or like, shall we stop?
A dictionary is remaining now.
Yeah, last dictionary. I want to go for that. So we'll
Let's
finish it
finish.
off. Yeah, we'll finish it off this dictionary. And a dictionary is like a map object. Okay. So what is a dictionary? A dictionary stores the multiple keys and values, right? So this is a only like single map object in Python. Okay. So when you consider it, for example, I take you can take the person. The person is equal to, we can mention this is an empty. So it is a dictionary, empty dictionary. So this is the last concept, guys, but byte array we can discuss in the upcoming sessions and all. So let's finish the dictionary now. So how to define a data here? The person, okay, we can take this curl braces and we can take this name colon, take here Raja, and we can take here the age, and we can mention it, for example, 50, and you can take the location. Okay, fine, you can write all the keys and values like this. The location is, for example, New York, something like that we can define it, right? So if I go and print this data, okay, so I can use a print statement and person. But there is some notes here. There is some key points we should remember. What are those key points? Key point number one, just remember keys cannot be duplicated. Cannot be duplicated. First of all, what are the keys? The person which has the name, age, location, these are the keys. The values is Raja 56 New York. These are the values. Keys cannot be duplicated, but values can be. We can make values can be duplicated, guys. Okay, just for your information. The point number two, which is very important point, keys are always immutable. How many of you know about this? Keys are always immutable. Means here you can give value is integer also fine. Complex numbers also I can give. 3 plus 4j. Can I give the complex numbers? If I go and execute this, absolutely it works. Complex numbers be given as a key. Integers can be given as a key. Float numbers as a given as a key. But I'll give the true. True is also, Boolean value is also complex immutability, right? So it works. But when you give the list, it will throw an error. So it will throw an error like 1, 2, 4, hey man, unhashable list, it won't work. But when I give this one is a tuple is immutable, right? That's what we discussed. This works very well. I'm executing this code. Now we see the output is exactly. So this is very, very, very important point. Keys are always immutable, right? Keys are always immutable. So what is the next thing? Values can be duplicated. Okay. Now I want only the values and keys to be retrieved. Okay. So if you want those and all, you can use the print statement. The person dot keys. Keys is the function which is a predefined function. You can use. I can retrieve only the keys. Or you want only the values, and we have the function name is called the values. Right. If I go and execute this, values will be retrieved. If I want both the keys and values, there is a function name is called the items. But you may wonder, I'm getting these values with this way, dict underscore keys and all. I don't want like this, but you can go for the for loop for I in, and you can give this person dot keys. It's a function calling. Person is a dictionary dot keys, and you put the colon, the print of I. I is nothing but a key. Let me give you the proper name here, key. Okay, this is the each key basically, right? So I'm just going to print this each key, and I'm going to execute this code. No problem. We'll see the output is age, location. Yeah, 120 also there. Here instead of this age, I'll give the proper name. That's called name. That's fine now. I'm going to execute this. I'll see. I want to print same one by one for the values. So I can use now instead of keys, I will use the values. This time it is not a key, it is a value. I'll use the values, guys. Just me go and print this. You see the values. Now this time I don't want the keys and values separately. I want both together. I mean, like combined. This time I'll give the items function. Remember, I'm calling the functions here on the dictionary. This time I want to provide the keys or key comma value. So you want to print the key comma value here? Just you can give this way because you are giving the two variables. So I'm getting the name Raja. If you want to do this something like, if you want to do something like formatting, you can do it by using this comma comma. It works. Okay. So for loop, right? We can use the for loop. But one more point, since you guys are there, I'm going to give very valuable thing. For example, I have the list here. List x is equal to. I'm giving the 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, and we can give any name here. For example, Raja. Let it be. It is a heterogeneous data list. I want to traverse this. Can I give the underscore here in list X? This is most of the people don't know. Okay, print of underscore. What is the output of this? If I'm going to execute this, you're getting that value, right? You are traversing with the for loop. Instead of underscore, I'm little mad. Okay, I'm giving this parenthesis. Is it works? First of all, throws error. Underscore only allowed. Can I give the hyphen? No. Can I give the plus? No. Why only underscore is allowed? That is a right you should know. Why underscore is allowed? Tell me, anybody knows why underscore is allowed for loop and for the iteration? Why not other operators or other words which is not taken? Alphabets can be taken here. Okay, you can take XY. You can print XY. Not an issue, it consider. Go and study the Python variables. How variables can be declared? Can I use this underscore of X is equal to 3? Can it be possible? Can I use the underscore of 8? Underscore is equal to, do you know? Underscore is equal to 9. Hey, what is this? Did you know about this? If I'm going to print this 9, if I'm going to execute this code, we got 9. How underscore can be? Because the variable name can be given with underscores, right? So this is a very, very important, you should remember. Most of the people don't know, but sometimes you may see this one into the any project code. Don't feel like, okay, this is a weird, this is not weird, this is acceptable. The variable name can be allowed with underscores, as simple as the answer is. It's nothing but identifier. Underscore is nothing but identifier which can be allowed for the variable name. Same variable name we are given in the for loop. That's the reason we are seeing it for iteration purpose, but other data can be given. Last one more thing.
Space allowed? Is a space allowed?
Which space? Okay.
Blank space.
Only space. How it can be allowed? No.
Not
Tell me. You're saying something.
for the line 30th line for.
Okay, you are giving the space here, and this is a syntax error, right? Or is it correct? Anybody tell me, guys? I'm going to execute this. I'm going to execute this code. Error definitely will get. Space is what? I mean, see, it is a basic idea here comes here. If you are not allowed in giving the space here, obviously you also get the error here. Space is just character. Okay, so it's not allowed. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. But good to know those things because we may see sometimes in the projects. We should not feel like what we know about the basics. Basics is always important, guys, to get into the much programming. Okay, moving to the last one. Can I give them here? The values can be a list, right? The values can be a list. New York is one thing, and Texas I can give different countries here. The Florida, okay. So I can give the different state names here. You can see I can give it as a set. I can give it as a list. Or if you want to give it as like, are you MS student? We can say that no. I will say that false here, something like this. We can give, right? So I mean to say that values can be any data type. It works. The last most important thing, okay. Can I add the two dictionaries? Last important concept for today. I mean for this data type session. Can I add the two dictionaries? Let me take two dictionaries. Excuse me, two dictionaries. 1 comma. Here I'm going to take A and 1. Here is B and this is 2. simple, and comma, this is a dictionary. I'm going to take another variable called y. So this is this time is the C, right? And last one is the D. Okay, now I want to add these two dictionaries. Can it be possible? X plus y, X plus y. Hey, no, it is not possible. But Python is introduced the merging the two dictionaries from the 3.9. 3.9 was launched in the last year only, right? It was released in the last year, October 4th, I think, or whatever the date, leave it. Then October, they released the new version, right? Every October, they release the new versions, Python. So 3.9 is the latest version, but it allows you have to do the instead of place, you have to use something called pipe symbol. I'm going to execute this code. This works only in the 3.9. So for example, if I'm going to change the 3.8 in this code, let me go to take this one, 3.8, I'm using it. I'm going to execute this code. You'll see the exception here. The man, unsupported operand type. And I'm going to change this one to the 3.9. Are you able to see it, right? The one which I'm selecting the interpreters. I don't know, Zoom is allowing you to see it. Yeah, you can see 3.9, which is getting involved, right? I want to update the dictionary. So if you want to update the dictionary also, we can use pipe symbol equal to y. This is a newly introduced operators into the 3.9 for the dictionaries. If I want to print this X, similar case for what you've seen in the set, same way they bought it for the dictionary also. Print of X and print of Y. This is update function. Update means equal. We just add equal to here. You can see here, whatever the value which is got updated. This X is got updated with the C and D, but D, I mean, Y is remain same only. Remember dictionary bot, I mean, Python bot for the dictionary's new operator is called the pipe symbol and the pipe equal to. Hope you understand the concept here. The last most important thing is that there are few functions on this dictionaries, X dot. There are functions like you can see. The clear, I don't want to discuss. Clear means it will delete all the items from the given object. The copy means it will create a new object for that. And we have the pop item and all. Okay, this is for the deletion, but this we can discuss. I have the separate session for the operations, data types operations. There we can talk string operations, list operations, tuple anyway, no operations, only two are there. Set operation, most of the things we can talk into the separate session. Dictionary operations are a little different. I need to invest at least 30 to 40 minutes of time to understand much better way. But simple way, I want to retrieve these locations from this person. You have to give the print statement. So print of and give the dictionary name is the person. And you can pass the key here. Key name is the location. Right? What is the key name here? Location. So let me give this location. What will happen, guys? So can I go and execute this code? We got New York and Texas and Florida. Correct? So we can retrieve this. When you pass the key with the square brackets, you may wonder, is it follows the indexing? No, dictionary never follows the indexing. It is a hash map. Data structure backend is the hash map. Okay, so it stores the values based on the key and okay, and you can see the person of the location which you get. Not only this one, I can also use another function name is called the person.get. There are two ways we can get the location data here. You can pass the location here. So one is with the square bracket, another one is with the this one. Then what is the difference? The difference is very simple. If I give the incorrect key here, the person in the square bracket, you will see the exception, key error. So when you pass the incorrect key, you'll get the key error. But when you use the get function, if you pass the incorrect key, you don't see that an exception, but you see the none value. That is only the difference. These kind of things you will see more in the future also, because Python will maintain the duplication of concepts here. One is for error, one is for non-error, but different mechanisms will be there at the back end. If we go and click this get, you can see this is how the code they have written. Right? This is the backend code of the Python, right? This is the backend code, of course. Fine. So fine, anyway, these are the things are, but there are some functions like default, dict, many things are there, but we can talk later in the operations section. Fine guys, so we are done with almost all the data types except the byte array. We understand the numbers, list, tuple, set, okay. But really speaking, these data types we need at least 5 to 6 hours to go in deep. But since I don't know how many of people have the patience here to understand that way, but I have given the kind of crash course kind of content here. But a lot of things to explore in this content. Okay, it is not that much easy as you think when you want. But this content is more than enough for the people who can start building the skills. Okay, fine. If I have any questions, can we catch up at what time? Are you guys are okay for the functions? Or do you want to? You don't want session today? Please respond.
Function, what timing? I guess you have already mentioned the timing, right? It's 3 something, right?
Functions, I forgot. Yeah, 2 p.m. I mentioned. Can we connect in another 2:30? Shall we go for 2:30 because that is a better way.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll catch up in another 1 hour time. So we are going to discuss the functions. Again, I'm going to tell you, I will not talk about the built-in functions. I will talk about the function concepts. Built-in functions will take almost 3-4 hours. That we can put tomorrow or in the upcoming days. Built-in functions are different. Yeah, but I will give you the complete idea. There is a different types of parameters are there, variable length arguments and all we can discuss. Let's catch up at 2:30 to 3:30 or 4. And after that, we'll take a break. Again, we'll go for exceptions. Fine.
Yeah, sure. One common question I have in this we have this what I forgot the name. After search, the fourth sign you see
Which one?
in the search in
Hmm.
this bar. What the fourth sign? What is
One,
this?
two, this one, extensions.
Yes. Extension in Pycharm. How do we get extension if we want to import? Because I don't see there
I
in
will tell you
Pycharm.
that. Okay, you have to go to the. Okay, I will open and show you that in the whenever the session starts in the 2:30.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Meanwhile, I will open it. Let's take a
Okay.
break, guys. Definitely, I will show you. That is easy to do it. You have to go to the settings and do it. But
Okay.
yeah, so we'll catch up at exactly 2:30. We are going to talk about functions. We'll see. And these sessions are already I'm streaming on YouTube. And if anybody has missed anything, you can watch it there. I don't know how that video is coming. I'm not seeing that. Just for your purpose, only I'm doing it. Fine. Fine, guys. Thank you.